Well, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to the best damn movie-related show on the planet Earth, the John Campea Show, coming from right here on my YouTube channel. I am, of course, your host, John Campea, and it is an awesome honor and privilege, as it is every day, to have you, our international friends, gather around as we talk about our favorite things in the world, movies, movie news, TV shows, streaming, all sorts of good stuff. And we're joined, of course, sitting right over here. Chris Carr is here, ladies and gentlemen. Chris, how you doing today?
I'm good. I'm glad I finally made it here through all that traffic. Goodness gracious.
Yeah, you said there was an accident?
There were all the accidents. It was everyone's first day driving. They all just got their licenses, and I'm so proud of all of you.
They all survived it. Way to go, everybody.
Yeah.
And, of course, joining you guys in the live chat today, over here, Mr. Ray Ora. Ray, how you doing today?
Am I in the live chat? Am I? I am now.
Oh, now
Okay.
he's a little slow today, everybody. And of course, it is Wednesday. So Aaron Cummings and Joey Bishop are here today. How you doing, guys?
Oh, you know, well, we were in the HOV lane because obviously Joey counts for my partner in my car. And so
It's technically a carpool.
It is technically a carpool, absolutely. And we were obviously on all the highways that did not have the accidents. So Chris and I are going to convene after the show and discuss routes.
Give me those routes. Give me the ways.
I'll give you the Waze,
Yeah.
W-A-Z-E. Thank you very much. Be a sponsor of our show. But yes, it is Wednesday. I'm thrilled to be here. And hi, everybody.
And of course, Robert's not here today because as he mentioned on social media, and we let you guys know yesterday, he is now Sicky McPetri dish. He had tested positive, so he's a bit under the weather. He'll be back next week sometime. All right, guys. With all that down, let's talk about today's show, shall we? Here's how today's show is going to go. We're going to break it down into two parts. In the first half of the show, we're going to take some predetermined topics. Then in the second half of the show, we're going to take your live comments and questions. Now, if you want to get a live comment or question on the show, number one, you got to be watching live. But then once we get near the end of our final main topic today, we will announce that we're opening up the super chats. And if you guys have your comments, questions, thoughts, observations ready to go, fire them in when we announce that they're open. We'll read those off. Be quick, though. We only leave them open for a couple of minutes because they fill up fast. And then we'll read those then. But for now, guys, let's get into our main topics here today, shall we? And how do we select our main topics on the John Campea Show? It's simple. You guys come up with our main topics. Whenever you come across a big topic, issue, or story that you guys feel we need to cover as a main topic on the show, just go anytime 24/7 over to www.thejohncampeashow.com/contact. Once you guys get there, you're going to see a form. Fill it out with your topic or question. It's absolutely free. Hit submit, and then maybe, just maybe, you might see your submission featured as a main topic here on the John Campea Show. With that down, Chris, what is our first main topic today?
Our first topic is going to come from Damage Tattoo. Hi, John. I'm the girlfriend, and I went to see Lost City last night at our local AMC, and sure enough, there it was again, the Nicole Kidman commercial. I didn't get your hate for it at first, but I've seen this commercial like 10 times now, and I just want the movie to start. Then I read something about how they're saying they're going to keep playing it for like another year. It's just irritating now.
All right, so here's the thing. Thank you for sending that in. And now we are not here specifically to talk about the Nicole Kidman ad on AMC theaters, but rather when I saw that email come in, it reminded me when I was up in Canada the other day. I was sitting down having dinner with a buddy of mine who I hadn't seen in a while, and we just started talking about movie theaters and things like that. And it got onto a conversation. We started talking about all the things we don't like about the movie theaters. Now, let me be very, very clear here. You guys know this. To me, the best experience in the world is going to the movies. I every day that I wake up, knowing that I'm going to the movies that day, just the rest of the day is a good day for me. I love going to the movies, the magic of the movies. There is nothing like it. Nothing replaces it. Nothing comes close to that experience of being in a big theater with other film fans, experiencing the laughs, the gasps, the excitement, the horror, whatever it is. It is the best experience in the world. But it's not one without its problems. And as my friend and I were chatting about it, I thought, you know what, it'd be interesting with how much I go on and on the show about how, you can sit in the same, spot on your couch that you use your sock and touch yourself with to watch whatever you want to watch on a streamer.
What's
That's
the sock
fine.
For?
I don't know how good of a movie experience that is.
I don't use a sock for that.
Keeping your feet warm.
Oh, keeping your feet warm. Okay.
Yeah.
Just
That's
one
right.
foot. Just one
one
foot.
foot is
Feet
warm.
warm.
After.
That's it. So, but that's fine. If that does it for you, that's great. But the movie theater is the best thing ever. But it's not without its problems. So I wanted to take a couple of seconds here today and talk about the worst things about going to the movie theaters, the 10 worst things, and maybe how the theaters can maybe start to address these things. And then once I get through these 10, I'm going to ask you guys if you guys have any other ones you want to add, or if there's any ones of these that particularly jump out at you. So for this, let's jump over to the Campea classroom here, shall we? And we're going to start with this. The first thing I want to mention is the cost of concessions. All right. Look, I understand. I do. Movie theaters, that's how they keep their lights on. That's how they pay their staff. That's how they pay for those auditoriums and the insane rent that movie theaters have to pay these big plazas and malls for having those spaces. They don't pay it through the movie ticket. They generally only keep about 1/3 of the cost of a movie ticket. They make their money through selling concessions. I get it. I understand it. And so I'm okay that we have to pay more for, a bag of popcorn than really we should be paying for it. I get that. But still, one of my favorite quotes all time, my dad goes to the movies about once every 3 or 4 years, usually when I'm home. And I took my dad, my mom, and my siblings to go see one of the Star Wars movies. I can't remember what it was. And my dad hadn't been in the movie theater in like 5-6 years. And we lose sight of my dad. And some of you remember the story. And we're saying to the foyer, where's dad? Where's dad? And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, we hear this big bellowing voice echoing through the hallways. $18. And it was my
dad thing to say.
It was my dad yelling at the poor concession stand kid that a popcorn and a drink was going to cost $18. I rush over, Dad, they want $18. I'm so sorry. I am so sorry. Dad, come over here. And I dropped the 20 for the kid and whatever. So, but it's true. It is getting really expensive to go. And so the costs of concessions is a big thing. All right. The other thing, I want to go number 2 here. This is not true of every movie theater, but uncomfortable seats. I go to the AMC Prime Theater mostly now when I can, but there's only one, sometimes 2 of those in a multiplex. The other times, you're kind of flipping a coin on the kind of chair you're going to get. And I hate it when you're sitting down for 2.5 hours in an uncomfortable chair that maybe you don't have enough legroom. Great example of this. One of the best theaters in the world, like for almost every other way, is the El Capitan Theater in Hollywood, owned by Disney. It's gorgeous. It's beautiful. It's got all this pageantry and it's like old and it's glorious. But I hate going to movies there because the seats are the worst.
Oh, they're the
those
worst.
old wooden ones too. Your ass is grass at the end of that. It's awful.
Now they do have,
They're small for babies, like children.
they
They're made
do
for
have
kid butts.
cushions on them, but I'm like, my knees, like my toes touch the ground because my knees are so far up. Like it's just crazy. So uncomfortable seats. All right. Third thing I want to mention here is just the price of tickets. Now, look, going to the movies, even if tickets are $18 a piece, going to the movies to me is still a very good value. Chris Rock talked about this last year when he said, look, name a more cost-effective date. You want to take her out for drinks? You're dropping $70-$80 between the two of you. You want to go to a concert? Dropping $300 or $400. You want to take her to a museum? You're going to be dropping this. You want
A sporting event.
even more. A movie is still the most cost-effective date you can possibly go on. Granted. But man, these prices are getting high. And when you combine that with the cost of concessions, that becomes a little bit of the thing. Another one I want to put in here, maybe it's just me and maybe I've gone to the wrong theaters, but dirty bathrooms. Nothing grosses me out more. And to be fair, it's not just movie theaters, whether it's a restaurant or I'm at a ballpark or whatever. It's just something is so viscerally bad when I walk into the bathroom and it's dirty.
Oh yeah.
And I don't mean there's, a paper towel on the floor. I don't, but you can just walk and say, this place is not being cleaned.
Feces on the wall.
Yeah, like how did that happen? And I've been in a number of movie theaters, surprisingly, where some are like,
They hated that movie.
hated it, where there's like, it's a great theater, beautiful theater, great foyer, and then you go into the bathroom, it's like, I have to pee really bad, but I'd rather risk liver poisoning than relieve myself in here. And then I would leave. So there's that. Then the next thing, which is not the same as number 2, but is bad seats. There are a lot of movie theaters you can go into where 3, 4, 5 of the rows are just unusable.
Yeah.
Now, thankfully, a lot of the modern theaters don't do this. Whether it's like an AMC Prime, you can sit front row, you're perfectly good. The ArcLight Theater, the front row was still like 15 yards from the screen. So everything was good. But a lot of movie theaters, once you get to about 60% capacity, you're now getting seats where it's like not a good view.
And you're spending the same amount for your ticket.
Same amount for your tickets, the whole bit, and you're stuck with a bad seat. Now, that got kind of, alleviated when we had pre-assigned seating so you can decide whether or not you want to go into one of those. But that brings up another problem, which is there are still theaters without pre-assigned seating. To me, that's just ridiculous. Like, that's the freaking dark ages. I just don't understand how you can get a bus ticket and know where your seat is, but a movie theater, and there's still places that you cannot pick where your seat is. To me, like I said, I think that's the dark ages. Next, you won't be surprised to hear me say this. Number of trailers. It is utterly ridiculous that in an industry that's saying, hey, 7:00 showtime, you go there, and the movie doesn't start at 7. It doesn't start at 7:10, doesn't start at 7:20, doesn't even start at 7:25. It usually starts closer to 7:30, sometimes beyond that. And for an industry that's about giving people a great experience, that's a bad way to do it. Next, and listen, all due respect, I have great respect for parents, but crying kids. Now, I think it's great that, look, getting babysitters is expensive, stuff like that. If a parent can take their baby and go with them and have a night out and whatever, I think that's great. And I don't even mind a little, the odd little thing. Sometimes baby will coo and cry for a second and then stop. I honestly don't mind that. I get it. But, once a baby starts crying, they're upset. They're not having a good day. Maybe their tummy's not feeling good, whatever. You got to, I get it. You paid $18 for a movie ticket, but you got to be courteous to everybody else who's there. Stand up, walk into the hallway, and if you can get your baby to stop crying, great. Come on back in.
Like you and Tom always have that plan for when you see a movie.
100%.
And your baby just happens to be perfect, so it doesn't happen. But there's always okay, well, if something happens, like Tom will go here or I'll go here.
Yeah.
Like that's all you have to do.
That is all you have to do. But a lot of people still don't do that. So, and you know what? No movie theater wants to be that guy that goes and says, ma'am, you're going to have to leave because your baby's crying. So patrons need to be more courteous of that. Also, I want to talk about this. No matter if they pre-assign seating and everything, I already talked about concession stand prices. Nothing is more discouraging to me when I get to the theater like 5 minutes before the movie starts and like, oh, now my mouth's waters for some popcorn or whatever. And you look at the concessions line and there's 48 people in the concession line and 2 registers open.
So annoying.
It's infuriating.
When similar to automating the being able to choose your seat, they should also automate it. And I know that everybody says, oh, automation, you don't have as many, people working, not as many jobs available. However, there should be those kiosks where you can just punch in your order. And then that way, all the people that are working can focus on fulfilling all of the orders. You're going to have a rush and that people are going to want to be able to get their stuff and leave. You're already starting the experience with a bad tone. People hate waiting in line, just like Chris hates waiting in traffic.
And there's another problem
All the
too.
road rage.
Like AMC, I can get on my app. I don't have it here with me. I can get on my app and I can order my food in advance.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah, brilliant.
When it works.
Yeah. Until you're like, okay, I want to, it says, what time do you want to pick up your food? And it's like 5:30. I'm like, I like to pick it up at 7:30 because my movie starts 5 minutes after. Great. And I get there, 7:30, 7:35, 7:40, 7:45. I remember one time I was there waiting for a hot dog for 45 minutes.
Yeah, man.
I mean, it was...
What?
Yeah.
That was the best hot dog you've ever had.
It's the greatest hot dog anybody's ever had in the history of hot dogs. So...
But they're right there rolling on the low.
Oh, I know. It was kind of a crazy thing.
It would have been faster if you'd just gone back, just
Yeah,
literally
walked up.
jumped over the counter and made the hot dog yourself.
Bring your own buns.
Bring your own buns, the whole bit. Bring a grill.
That's why I bring a George Foreman to every AMC.
Yeah. You know, my only problem with the theaters that I always want is they need big boy ice cream there.
Well, wait. Before we get the other thing,
hold on.
let me just
We
finish
got to
up
get
with
through our
number
top 10.
Number 10, remember, these are in no particular order. But phones. I hate people with their phones. Now, look, I don't mind, like, if I hear a buzz go off or what, that's fine. But it's people who are every 5 minutes checking their text messages with their screen on 75% brightness. I mean, I have to admit, it's been a while since I've heard somebody actually answer a phone call and talk to somebody.
Oh, yeah.
I will admit,
But I think
it's
that's
been
also
years
more
since I've seen
indicative
that.
of the fact that people don't actually engage in phone conversations
phone
anymore.
call?
Yeah, maybe, yeah.
Like people don't answer the
But
phone.
they're pulling out and texting
Yeah.
and stuff like
Hey,
that. and-
what's up? Saw you just called.
When
So-
someone calls me, I'm like, what is wrong?
Oh my
Why
God,
are you
who died?
doing this?
It just drives. And I remember a few years ago, maybe about 5 years ago, there was talk amongst the movie theater owners about implementing like cell phone jammers in movie theaters.
Ooh.
And I'll tell you what, I was all for it. I'm still not against it. And the automatic objection to that is, but what if there's an emergency? Somebody needs to reach you. Well, okay. But it wasn't that long ago when we didn't have cell phones.
Yeah.
What happens when you're out of the house and somebody needs to reach you? Listen, just let somebody know what movie theater you're at. And if there's an emergency, someone can come and get you. I don't know. But it's so counterintuitive to what we're used to now. We're always used to having that phone with us. And I'm not saying now the answer is phone jammers, but I do wish they would come up with something to stop people from like pulling out their phones every 5 minutes. So those are my things. The cost of concessions, uncomfortable seats, price of tickets, dirty bathrooms. I hate that one. Bad seats, still theaters that don't have pre-assigned seating, the number of trailers, crying kids, lines, and phones. And I still say 100 times more, the movie-going experience is still better than anything else. But I think those are some problems. So Chris, let me start with you.
Yeah.
What of these stands out to you the most or really bothers you? Or do you have one or two that maybe I missed?
I mean, the concessions when you've gone to movies with me, you see me pull out my leather, like fruit leather
Oh, yeah.
and my can of seltzer water.
Totally.
I'm such a horrible grandma where I'm like, well, I've got my snacks with me. Now I can avoid all of this. Honestly, the thing like this is that I hate the most. The crying babies, I understand that's upsetting. The phones are awful. Just a good old Cousin Vinny reference here. Utes. I do not like when teenagers talk during a movie and think we're in their living room. I am not here to listen to you. I did not pay $18 to hear about what went down at the gym this week. I don't care. I just don't. And I hate when people think that they get to have the entitlement of speaking during a film. No one's there for you, babe. No one.
Everyone's there for me.
Shush.
Everyone's there for
And we're
Ray.
not in your living room. My favorite moment, well, there were so many great moments about CinemaCon this year. I can't talk enough about what a fantastic experience it was to be there with everyone this year. But one of the moments that also stands out is Chris and I sitting together, and I don't remember whether it was a presentation or if it was a screening or if it was a movie, but there were these two women behind us that just felt like it was happy hour or just catch up time or whatever, and they just kept on yapping, and Chris just turned around and she gave him that look like, are you gonna shut the fuck up right now? And it was so beautiful that because they
I
got
get that
it
look like every other day. So I don't.
they got
I
it
totally get
real quick. I mean, I was just about ready to like flip my hair, and then I felt the whoosh of Chris's hair flip.
Every Boston ancestor was just like,
Yeah, it was awesome. It was fantastic.
Those
Yeah.
two ladies were never seen again.
Exactly.
and
Ray,
they never find their bodies.
You were pointing something out that we left off the list. What was that you're saying about
I'm just
a certain-
saying, Big Boy ice cream. And
I don't even know what Big Boy ice cream
I
is.
don't know that.
Okay, so they
Big
give
Boy
you-
has
they-
burgers.
You have like 3 choices there, and they seem like it seems like nothing.
Well, they have
I'm
the
just
ice
saying.
cream
They have
chocolate
the
chip
little
cookie
dibs
sandwich.
thing,
They got dibs.
and then
They
you
got
you
dibs.
hand those you hand those out, and then you end up having like 3, so maybe a bucket of dibs. I mean, I'm just looking at lengths of movies, and that's not enough ice
Well,
cream
stop
for the length
sharing
of
your dib.
Well, of course, your ice cream's going to turn to soup after about 20 minutes. I mean, how much ice cream do you need?
Also, I really don't like when just people are like just totally going at it in the theater,
Like making out,
no,
like heavy petting.
like full on,
Oh,
like
like-
I'm sitting there and they get on my lap and just start doing it. I-
to Ray.
that might not be a theater.
Okay, so when it says adult movie screening,
Yeah.
that's a theater that you shouldn't go into, Ray.
I'm like,
Unless you're going for that purpose.
Unless you're prepared.
trying
Yes.
to watch Thor, people. Come on.
I told you guys about the last drive-in theater before the pandemic.
No.
Before the pandemic, Ray's heard this. The last drive-in movie theater experience I had was a long time ago. Like I was like 19 or 20.
Oh, I love a drive-in.
So do I. And Ann and I rediscovered them when the pandemic was going on.
Yeah.
But it was just outside of Hamilton. and we were behind a pickup truck.
Well, there you go.
And
I mean,
two people literally stood up in the back of the pickup truck and hammered like Thor.
Oh,
I mean,
wow.
it was
standing
They did
up.
it standing?
standing in the back of the pickup
That
truck
had to
bold.
be.
for the whole world to see.
I
That
mean,
had to
you
be
just
set up.
want to be seen, and that's the case. That's like that's exhibit. So for me, I will go ahead and say this.
When you have sex, in
Why
a
are you holding
truck,
it?
When I have sex in the back of a pickup truck, I'm respectable to my friends and family, and I do it
Considerate.
laying down.
like God intended.
Exactly.
I'm not gonna get
Shifting
fancy.
gears, I have a baby now. Speaking of sex.
That's, yes, you do.
On a completely unrelated note, I have a baby now.
And I will be the first person to say, absolutely, get your dadgum children out of my theater. I am not here to babysit. I am not here to listen to your child screaming. I'm not here to listen to you whatever you call that which you think is parenting. I am not here for it. I don't want the cell phones. I don't want the talking. That is why Alamo Drafthouse is my theater of choice. I will pay $75 per ticket to go and sit there in my, I don't know how much they are, but they're very expensive. But I rushed up to Shelley Taylor, the CEO of Alamo Drafthouse at CinemaCon, to gush about how much I
It
love.
was so cute. You fangirled so hard.
Oh my God,
It
I
was
fangirled
great.
so hard at her. But, and that's the thing. But the frustrating thing is that we have now come to a point where if you just want to enjoy a movie, you're having to pay a premium. It used to be that, like, if you were going to pay extra to fly in first class, it was because you just wanted like a fancy meal or you wanted a bigger seat. Now it's because you want a completely different flying experience. And I feel like that is what's happening with the movie theaters, which is, if I'm going to pay for a coach ticket, I'm going to get a coach experience. Dirty bathrooms, people yapping, seats that are too small and uncomfortable. And so I'm having to pay a first class ticket price for the type of theater where if someone is on their phone, they're going to kick them out, which is what I appreciate. But also, so I will say this, I do not want to hear your children. And also, I don't, in the same way that I think you're an asshole if you bring a kid on a red-eye flight, I believe that fully. I don't take red-eye flights with my baby. You
Well,
shouldn't
some
either.
people don't have a choice. Like if you got to get somewhere and that's
You
the
got-
flight that's available and you got kids. I mean,
Sure,
they don't have
whatever.
choices.
That's debatable. I'm just saying.
Be a grown up, drug your baby.
There you go.
Wasn't
Drug your
drug
baby.
that baby.
But
I'd be a
also
great parent.
in the same vein, I don't think that parents should be taking their kids to a nighttime movie. And so my complaint right now is, where are the parent and me, not the mommy and me, daddy and me, whatever. Where are the baby and parent screenings? Because I went to look
There
for
you go.
them
That's what I was going to bring up.
and they're not there. So theaters, have more parent friendly where you can bring your kid screenings, and then you won't have to worry about these people's kids driving everyone crazy at the general admission theaters.
All right, guys, question is for you. I mean, you know me, the movie going experience is the greatest thing in the world, but it has its problems and its drawbacks. What do you think about the ones that we listed here? Which one stands out to you the most? Are there some that we maybe missed? Whatever your thoughts are, jump down to the comment section below and leave those thoughts there. Okay, guys, with that down, let's move on to main topic number 2. Chris, what is our second main topic today?
Our second topic is going to come from David D. Good morning, everyone. I know I'm late, but I finally watched the She-Hulk trailer.
Well,
and
it
I
only came out yesterday. You're not that late.
They really enjoyed it. My one kind of problem with it is that the CGI didn't look great to me. It looked pretty good on Abomination, but on She-Hulk herself, not so much. Am I just nitpicking here, or was it lacking a bit? Also, I know you liked it, but were there any things about the trailer that didn't work for you?
All right, thanks a lot for sending that in, David. Now, obviously, yesterday during the John Campea Show, the She-Hulk trailer dropped. And I'm not going to lie to you, I really enjoyed it a lot. So we're going to hear from Erin and what she thought of the trailer here in a second. She wasn't here yesterday, of course. But I wanted to break down with you then the things that really worked for me about it. I'm going to talk about 5 things that really worked for me about this, and then 3 things that bothered me about the trailer. And overall, I love the trailer. I did. So let's first talk about the 5 things that I really like. We're going to go back over in the double dose of Campea Classroom today. First thing I'm going to say is this. Dialogue. I love the dialogue. The dialogue was quick. It was snappy. It all felt natural. When 2 different people were talking to each other in the trailer, it felt like it just flowed. It felt natural. Like, I really feel like whoever wrote the series really had a great sense of touch and time with the dialogue, and the dialogue all really worked for me. And often dialogue in a trailer doesn't stand out to me that much. In this one, it really did. Second thing that I really loved about it is tone. We were talking about this yesterday. We said a long time ago that when the She-Hulk show that's coming, whatever, man, you do an Ally McBeal kind of procedural with a superhero in it, that would be so cool. That's exactly the tone we got in it.
Yeah.
And I loved it. And while a lot of Marvel movies and things like that try to be funny, none of them have had that kind of a tone. And so it was very different and kind of unique. And so I really liked the tone. Third thing I loved about it was the humor. I thought the humor was killer throughout the whole thing. Everything from the subtle jab at Batman, like all superheroes are rich and narcissistic. And for some reason, what did they say? Adult orphans.
Orphans, yeah.
For some reason, adult orphans. I loved that. That was great. The whole line, like Hulk going, yes, yes, yes. No, no, no. Like that was awesome. The dating stuff was so good in it. So I loved the humor of it. The other thing I loved about it, you knew I was going to say Tim Roth or Abomination. I misspelled it, but Abomination. That's so what happens. You're trying to host and type at the same time. Abomination.
I liked Abomination. It's the YouTube crossover.
You guys know I've been wanting them to bring back Abomination ever since my MCU film that Edward Norton co-starred with me in. I just think he's a fantastic potential foil for the MCU. I love the character. I love seeing him pop up in Shang-Chi. I love Tim Roth. So just the fact that he's going to be there, and it looks like somebody that she's going to be defending. Like I just assumed, I think a lot of us did when the news came out that he was going to be in, we thought he was going to be the villain, but it looks kind of like she's going to be his defense attorney, which I think is fabulous. I mean, I don't know if that's for sure, but whatever. But the fifth thing is this. I was afraid if they did do the Ally McBeal thing, it would get away from kind of what needs to be at the heart of a lot of comic book movies, which is some good, exciting action. But the trailer makes it look like, yeah, they're not going to skimp on the action. It looks like they're going to have a good sense of that too. So those are the things that stood out to me most about Hulk, or She-Hulk, I should say. Let me talk about a couple of bad things though, all right? First thing that really bothered me about it is Hulk. You guys know that I love Hulk in the MCU until the Russo brothers got their hands on him. And I love what the Russo brothers have done in the MCU. Don't get me wrong. My one thing that I don't like that they did was the neutering of Hulk. In the MCU, Hulk was the nuclear bomb. He was the guy, even up until the very beginning of Infinity War, the one guy that I'd actually stand and go toe-to-toe and throw punches with Thanos. I mean, he was the whole point of Loki's plan. It's like, just plant the Hulk in the middle of them and he'll take them all out. Like he's the nuclear option. He's become so neutered now to just the quippy jokes of Banner. And I love Mark Ruffalo's quippy jokes as Banner. I do. But I like to see him do it as Banner, not as Hulk. I want the real Hulk back. And it looks like they continue to diminish. While I thought the Hulk's role in this trailer was good, it looks like the series continues the MCU pattern of just diminishing Hulk more. So I don't know. Maybe they'll rectify that at some point. The second thing I did not like, going back to what our viewer wrote about, was the CGI. Now look. There are two things I think we have to understand about the CGI. Number one, this is a TV show. It does not have the budget of a movie. Now, let's go to my one shot on this because I want everybody to hear me on this, all right? Whenever I bring this up, people say, but John, don't you know that the budget of the MCU show is the same as blah, 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 blah movie? Yeah, but what you're not understanding is it's about how many dollars per hour are being spent. Because, yeah, you could have a TV show where the budget was $150 million, but that $150 million had to produce 6, 7, or 8 hours of programming. Whereas in a movie, that $150 million goes into 2 hours of a movie. And so on a per hour basis, you're talking about these TV shows have less than half, sometimes 1/3 of the budget of a movie. So if you go into one of these TV series thinking you're going to see absolute movie level effects, you're going to be sorely disappointed. Also, I want to point out this. She-Hulk is really still just a human who is green and larger. She's not even as misformed as Hulk is. Like Hulk changes and everything. It's still her. That means the uncanny valley effect comes into effect, right? Because with Thanos, he doesn't even look human. So it doesn't it doesn't make our brain feel weird trying to look at it. But with Tatiana Maslany, good Canadian kid, by the way, she is supposed to just be a human face. And now we're looking at something that our brain is trying to perceive as just a regular human being walking around. So there's a little bit more of an uncanny valley effect there. So between the uncanny valley effect, plus the fact that this does not have the budget of a movie, you're going to have to understand the effects won't be there. It ultimately won't really matter. Because at the end of the day, when The Phantom Menace came out, there had never been, with CGI characterization, ever been a bigger advancement in the world than Jar Jar Binks. Jar Jar Binks was, and went from visual effects, was an absolute triumph. Did not help at all. And so, yeah, I agree. I think the CGI, at least the CGI on Abomination looked really good. But the CGI on She-Hulk, again, I had the uncanny valley effect too. It does look a little off-putting in the trailer. I think once we start watching it in the show, our brains will just adjust to it and we'll be fine. And then it's either going to be good or it's not going to be good. But I don't think it'll have anything to do with CG. But still, CG was a weak point to me. And the last thing that really bothers me about this is really a bigger point about the MCU as a whole. And that is the normalization of the extraordinary. Now, you guys have heard me talk about this before, that one of the things that I've always worried about with big shared cinematic universes, I've been saying this since the movie blog days, is that the awe and wonder of Christopher Reeve's Superman or of Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man is that we're encountering a being and a character that is unlike anything else in the world. It is the extraordinary within the mundane. And I said, I'm just worried we're going to get to a point now where every 7-Eleven is going to have 5 superheroes on the roof patrolling for crime at night. And there's going to be nothing special about any of these characters anymore. Well, once we come into this trailer now, it's like, oh, cool, She-Hulk. Hey, and reporters want to interview them. And even a lawyer saying, we're creating a division for superpowered things. Like, one of the things I was kind of worried about with the MCU is now really coming to fruition in this trailer. There's no longer anything special about the superheroes. There's nothing special about them anymore. You walk out onto the street in the world of the MCU, there's 7 superheroes standing around. It is the normalization of what is meant to be extraordinary. When Iron Man came out, Iron Man 1, there was nothing else in the world like Iron Man. When Captain America, the first Avenger, there was nothing else in the world like Captain America. And so this trailer again just made it feel, yep, this is just now the world. There's nothing extraordinary. One superhero is just another superhero. And I'm that disappoints me. So yeah, while I love the trailer and I listed all those things I like, the Hulk stuff really disappoints me a bit. The CGI is a little off-putting when you're watching in the trailer. And to me, it just looks like, again, the normalization of the extraordinary. So those things for me. Aaron, I want to go over to you. We didn't have a chance to talk to you about the trailer when it came out. I have not asked you about it at all. What did you think about the trailer just in general, and what worked for you and didn't work for you?
You know what? I loved it. I thought, as you said, it was so much fun. The tone of it was fantastic. I was a big fan of Ally McBeal when it first was airing, and there is something really unique about the dialogue that it sounds just like the way that it's almost as if the writers just went to a bar at happy hour and just wrote down conversations that they were hearing people have. It felt very natural. It felt very flow. I love the way she looks. And I'm not talking about the CGI. I'm talking about her actual physical form.
Just the design of her.
Right, because I was expecting a Bruce Banner Hulk version, like just a grotesque monster that just happened to be, quote, female. I like the fact that she looks like a shapely female bodybuilder. She looks like a bodybuilder.
Yeah.
And I actually really like that because I think that's just going to have first of all, it's going to help her agility, which I think is going to be great for the action scenes. Because let's be honest, Hulk is really powerful and he's really strong, but he doesn't have a lot of dexterity, I mean, he's got Hulk smash, and that's kind of where it stops. Whereas her, I can imagine that she could be very acrobatic. She could do lots of really cool things, and I'm thrilled with her shape in that I think that she's gonna be able to do a lot more things other than just She-Hulk smash.
Well, I mean, in the movies, Hulk is pretty quick and pretty fast.
I'm not talking about speed. I'm
Right.
talking about
The types of moves
agility
they can
and
let her do.
dexterity.
Yeah.
Exactly. And flexibility and things like that. So I was really thrilled with just how her physical form was presented. And I know that this was on one of your pros. And yes, it was cute. And the first time I watched it, I was like, but then like five minutes later, I was thinking about it. I go, really? We have this brilliant lawyer who can, and now has this ability to transform, and she's related to Bruce Banner, and she's got all these really cool things going on for her. But at the end of the day, it's still, but I want a boyfriend. And so I'm going to really have to watch the show. I just go, wow, like, we don't know if Bruce wants a girlfriend. We don't know if Bruce has a girlfriend or a wife or whatever. It's just he's happy being a really brilliant scientist who's great at his job and happens to transform into Hulk. I just would love for her to be able to just be a really brilliant lawyer and not be worried about when she's going to get a boyfriend. And it's a little bit, it's just tired for me. I feel like that is a narrative that we hear more often than not. And we've seen with Captain America, I don't know if she's got a partner. I mean, maybe I missed something, but her job is like, her whole focus is, I'm worried about saving the world and multiple worlds and multiple universes. And that's what we love about her. It's not just about, I want to go on Tinder and get a boyfriend. So that was a little bit of a thing, but it wasn't big enough for me to go, oh, I hate this show. It's just a little sticker for me. But again, I loved the trailer. I loved the tone. And I will 100% be watching this, and we'll see how that whole story plays out. Maybe it won't bother me.
I guess maybe one of the reasons why I like that aspect of it so much, well, two parts. One is because it is very Ally McBeal-ish.
Very true.
But also, and I will include you in this, because I knew you prior to being married, is that...
There was a time that I wasn't married to Tom.
Yeah, there was.
No,
a
you're
time.
right. You're right. You're right.
We call those the before times.
The TBT, time before
but
Tom.
like, especially in LA, any of my female friends I talk to about dating life and everything, dating is a nightmare here.
That's true. That
Dating
is true.
is well, like when me and my friends were in their 20s, dating in their 20s is horrible. Then in their 30s, dating in my 30s is horrible. So it's like, I found it somewhat relatable because it's like, I've had those conversations in my life. So it kind of
and maybe that's why I didn't like it, was because it was a little too traumatizing. It was too close to home. It reminded me too much of my 30s. And I was like,
I'm not going to lie to you. There was this one time, me and Aaron, I think we were in San Diego. One time. And I remember saying to her, because she was single. I said, my friend, sure, is single and a super great dude. And I think you're like, and I don't know if you remember the conversation.
I have no idea who we're talking about.
If it comes to you, don't say that.
I won't.
But she looked at me, she goes, oh, John, your friend, sure, is adorable, but I would eat him alive. I'm like, yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah, you probably would. And so, yeah.
I will say, as much as I don't want to relive my single days, I did single pretty darn well. If I do say something. Anyway,
Chris,
I'm starting to blush. Let's go to Chris.
Now that we're about 24 hours, really only about 18 hours removed from seeing the She-Hulk trailer. What are the things that stood out to you that you liked, and maybe some things that didn't work for you?
Oh, well, I'd love to jump off of some of the points y'all brought up.
Sure.
Because one of the things that I think, if they do it well, that can work here with that dating life thing, is that when she transforms into She-Hulk, she also lowers her inhibitions, and she gives more into her id and all of those just instinctual like desires. So if this is about Jennifer just like cutting loose and being like, no, I'm going to go on Tinder and I'm going to get laid right now.
Yeah.
I think that's something a little different than I want a boyfriend. If they make it like an empowering thing, if they play with that a little bit, I think there's potential here. I also like the law firm, because that's part of the comic. She worked at a law firm.
Well, if I want Ally McBeal, it's got to be law firm.
But Jerry Holloway worked at the law firm that she initially worked for, which I don't think we're going to have that kind of Daredevil crossover, right? But I love that little snippet is in there, maybe connecting Matt to Jennifer here, bringing in some of those things, tying up the MCU a little bit. The one thing that I did have an issue with that I talked about yesterday and gave it grace was, I thought there was some issues with the CGI, but I think you're right. It's the Uncanny Valley aspect. And Jim here in the chat too also pointed out something that made me go, oh yeah, maybe that's it. Her skin is just so smooth
Very smooth.
It's very smooth. It's very Instagram
But if you look at her in the comics,
that's how she
mean,
looks.
that's how she looks. Yeah.
But I think that might be part of that uncanny valley thing, though, of
Sure.
skin's textured. What is this? But I mean, that's how she's supposed to look. She's a green, like 7-foot tall woman.
But and there's a line in the trailer where the one woman says to her, "Your ass looks so amazing right now," and then. Like, I don't know if everybody caught this, but once the one lady says that, the camera smash cuts to She-Hulk, and she strikes that classic She-Hulk pose.
Yep.
So, like, Marvel's been doing really good, whether it was the Ms. Marvel trailer, where she's like that classic shot where she's sitting on top of the post looking over the city, right?
Yes.
They've been slipping in these classic, iconic shots.
Well, I think that's what they're really doing well here is that they are marrying these things for people. If you are a hardcore fan of Marvel Comics, there are these delicious little Easter eggs for you. We're like, yes, that's exactly from this page, this issue. I love that. But they're still making it accessible, I hope, because we talked about that too of, are we going to end up in a gatekeeping kind of fandom here where you have to watch everything to be a part of it? And these shows look like they're extremely accessible because they are shifting through genres and working with being more meta or playing with more humor or doing other things that we haven't necessarily seen to make all of our audiences happy without compromising anything, hopefully. I'm basing this off of a trailer. I could watch this and be like, this is dog shit. But I hope it's not.
You know what? I want to ask, just so we didn't ask, and I actually put a camera up on producer Jonathan. I want to ask Jonathan, I just quick, what did you think of the trailer, Jonathan? Well, the camera we set up froze.
Well, there we go. It froze me. I was stunned. I couldn't even move. I mean, look at I'm just
It's like
I'm
eyes
shocked
fixated
in
on the
disbelief.
screen. We'll have to get that fixed. Well, I'm glad it had that impact on you. All right. So much for technology. Guys, question is for you. You've had a few hours now to soak in. And what did you think about that She-Hulk trailer? What are some of the things that really stood out to you that you liked? But even if you loved it, maybe what are some of the things in it that didn't work out so well for you? Whatever you guys think it is, jump down to the comment section below and leave your thoughts there. Okay, guys. With that down, let's take a second here and thank the sponsor of today's episode of the John Campea Show, our friends over at ExpressVPN. Guys, we want to take a minute and thank the sponsor of this video, ExpressVPN. Now, you guys have all already heard about ExpressVPN. I've talked about it a number of times in my videos. It's the best way to protect your privacy online and to give you that security online that we all need. And there's another practical reason why viewers of this show love using ExpressVPN. Take Netflix, for example. You see, thousands of shows on Netflix are only available outside of the US, so you need to change your country if you want to access them, and ExpressVPN lets you do just that. Because what the ExpressVPN app does is it encrypts your data and reroutes it through server locations of your choice. This not only protects your data, but it also lets you control which country you want Netflix to think that you're in. ExpressVPN lets you choose from over 90 different countries, so every time you run out of stuff to watch, you can just fire up the app on your laptop or smart TV, switch your country, and hit connect. And once you refresh your page, you'll get a brand new selection of shows. It's just that simple. And those reasons and many more is why ExpressVPN is the #1 rated VPN provider by publishers like TechRadar and The Verge. So guys, visit expressvpn.com/Campea right now and get 3 extra months of their service for free. That's expressvpn.com/Campea. Go to expressvpn.com/Campea to learn more. And again, a big thank you to our friends at ExpressVPN for supporting the John Campea Show. By the way, guys, remember, when you guys support our sponsors and their products and their services, you're actually supporting the show as well. So go on down into the description of the video, check out the link with the promo codes and everything too, and support the good folks at ExpressVPN. All right, guys, with that down, let's move on to main topic number 3. Chris, what is our third main topic today?
Our third topic comes from Ed Minty. Hey, Team Campea. Greetings from England. As a big fan of Yellowstone and 1883, I was very excited to see that Dame Helen Miren and Harrison Ford have been cast in the upcoming series 1932. Their characters have yet to be announced, but it feels like they could be playing a new generation of Duntons, as they are said to have starring roles. Excuse me. What are your thoughts and reactions? Bring on the filthy.
All right, thanks a lot for sending that in. And yeah, listen, you guys know Yellowstone, to me, it's not on air right now. They're in between seasons. But Yellowstone, to me, all due respect to Succession, is the best show on TV. I mean, I love both of those shows, but Yellowstone to me is just unbelievable. It's The Godfather and Sons of Anarchy, but on horseback. It's just phenomenal. And I was late to the party on 1883, but I watched it. I don't think it's quite as good as Yellowstone, but it was really good and really impressive. And, the lead girl in there was almost one of our Wonder Twins until the axe of Zaslav fell.
Shame.
But anyway, really liked it. I know a lot of people were disappointed that they weren't continuing. But then yesterday, one of our viewers wrote in as we were getting close to the end of the show that they're doing a new Yellowstone prequel, but instead of 1883 Part 2, it is now 1932. This comes to us from the good folks over at The Wrap, who write the following. Helen Miren and Harrison Ford are joining the Yellowstone universe in the upcoming series 1932 for Paramount Plus. 1932, which is the show's working title, is an origin story introducing the new generation of the Dutton family. It's set to explore the early 20th century when pandemics, historic drought, the end of Prohibition, and the Great Depression all plague the Mountain West and the Duttons who call it home. The streamer said in a release, details about their characters were not immediately available. Okay, first of all, any project with Helen Mirren and Harrison Ford, check. I mean, I'm already deeply invested in that. A sequel, prequel, do-over, part two-ish, whatever you want to call it, another Yellowstone series with them starring in it, awesome. Now, are they the lead characters in the show? I don't know. But here's the thing, for all those who watched 1883, if it's just 1932, so it's just like 50 years later, obviously these are not children of the Duttons at Helen Mirren and Harrison Ford's age. So they're not. So is Harrison Ford an older Tim McGraw? Is
Helen Mirren Faith Hill?
Is Helen Mirren?
I can see that.
Did Faith Hill develop an English accent and become Helen Mirren? I'm sure Helen Mirren will not
She just
be.
did a Madonna.
Or are they completely different characters altogether? Or completely different characters, which is fine. But if they're completely different characters, well, I mean, this is supposed to be the story of the Duttons. So are they the neighbors to the Duttons? Are they? I just don't know at this point. So I'm fascinated. Look, we don't have a lot of information. But what little information we've got in front of us, Helen Mirren, Harrison Ford, Yellowstone universe, done. I'm in. Whatever this is, I'm going to watch it. Anyway, Chris, you heard this news. What do you think about it?
I mean, in my house, Helen Mirren is a national treasure.
Yes.
My husband loves her so much. He has such a crush on her. And he loves Harrison Ford. I think he's told you his Harrison Ford story. If not,
Yes, he did.
It's ridiculous. So I'm sure this is something that'll be playing in our home. That being said, Aaron and I were having a really interesting conversation about this, just from an acting perspective, about casting these really, really big name actors in television and how that's kind of been a big thing lately.
Yeah.
And just how that affects your average working actor. So I'm just going to go on a little bit of a little diatribe here of, when we have these really, really big names taking roles in the television space, it does make it even harder for actors who aren't well known to get screen time, to get seen, because if they are leads, having somebody up there playing the lead role, the trickle down effect, typically, not always, is that we're going to have more and more A-list actors, which talent always is great. We love seeing big names and things. We love seeing a talented cast to come together, but it is making it more and more difficult for actors to break into the industry when movie stars are populating the TV landscape.
And not only for people wanting to break into the industry, those of us who are already in the industry.
In Oscar award-winning films.
In Oscar, but it really is, I've always been very satisfied, and maintained being able to be a working actor, not having to wait tables, not having to have a second job. And so there's the journeyman, the quote, middle-class actors of people who are not massively famous, but also are not trying to break into the industry. A lot of my peers and colleagues, we are all in that same category. And it does make it that much more difficult just to have a job. It's like, to take the fame aspect out of it, it does have a trickle down effect. Now, it's great for the viewers,
yes,
obviously, who doesn't want to watch Harrison Ford and Helen Mirren. And to speak to your point, I can pretty much guarantee you they are not the leads of the show. They will certainly be the big names of the show. but they are not going to be in every scene of every episode because neither Helen Mirren nor Harrison Ford would have signed a contract for a show that was going to force them to work that much. They probably agree. They probably have a deal, which is a thing that you can negotiate when you reach a certain level of, of success, which is I'm not going to work on Mondays. I'm not going to work on Fridays. I have to be the last actor in on the day and the first actor out. I know actors who have that deal, and it's real sweet, and I guarantee you they have it, but it obviously limits the number of scenes that they're in. I'm not surprised to see that we have this show. This is such an incredible time in history, 1932, Great Depression. So many things were going on. And I think that the success of this world, the Yellowstone cinematic universe, or the Yellowstone streaming universe, as we're seeing develop, really is becoming the streaming MCU in the way that, as many comic book movies as we have now, they don't even hold a candle to the number of Westerns that were made. For 2 decades, the Western genre dominated the world of film and then obviously the early days of television as well. And so we're seeing a hearkening back to that. America is such a young country, and our history is rooted in the American cowboy. We're seeing a
little bit of that in Outer Range as well. Right
exactly. We're really seeing this, and we have the story of the Mexican cowboys and Black cowboys and all these incredible cowboy stories that have not, and cowgirl stories that have not been told. So I think that Taylor Sheridan is really tapping into something here, and I love the fact that he is expanding this universe, and I think it's fantastic. And I just hope that the more shows that there are like this, the more opportunities there will be for all levels of actors. Those come join us in the world of entertainment if you would like to be a young actor. We welcome you. For a journeyman actor,
they weren't going to be looking at any journeyman or young actors to play an 80-year-old and probably a 79-year-old.
But it does trickle down because if you have Helen Mirren, the point that we were making was if you have Helen Mirren playing the mom, then obviously I wasn't going to play the Helen Mirren role, but maybe I would have played her daughter. But guess what? If Helen Mirren's playing that role, Olivia Wilde or someone of that level is playing her daughter. And then who's playing the next door neighbor? It's going to, that's what I mean. That's what Chris was saying. It's the trickle down effect that makes it that much harder.
Yeah.
So
just to give another perspective from a working actor, because that's how we qualify for our health insurance,
right.
is working a certain amount. But this is all a testament to Taylor's writing. The fact that these stories are so good.
Yeah, and these actors want to be in their shows.
Actors are chomping at the bit to be a part of this universe. So, I mean, that's very exciting in itself to be that sought after, to have these wonderfully amazing, talented actors who are just global phenomenons wanting to be in your project. That's huge.
And speaking of Taylor Sheridan, he has a show with Jeremy Renner that nobody is watching. It's called The Mayor of Kingstown. I know it sounds an awful lot like The Mayor of Easttown. Totally different thing.
Completely
Jonathan's
different.
completely like he's stunned by this.
Yeah. This is only in studio mode. They see you.
So, but if you have not seen The Mayor of Kingstown, make sure you watch that. Another Taylor Sheridan thing. So anyway, guys, what do you guys think about this? Are you excited about 1932? I really am. Whatever your thoughts are, jump down to the comment section below and leave those thoughts there. All right. With that down, let's move on to main topic number 4. Chris, what is our 4th main topic today?
This comes from Thomas Giacchino. Hey, John. Unlike you, I personally really liked Hawkeye. But like you, I didn't like the Echo character very much. It's not that I disliked her. I just didn't see anything interesting about her. So they just announced that the Echo series has started shooting, and I don't hear anyone talking about it. Also, no mention of Daredevil or Kingpin in it with the cast listing. Should they even be making this show if no one is interested in it?
All right, thanks a lot for sending that in, Thomas. So yeah, we've been talking for a while about this new character they introduced in the Hawkeye series, Echo. And it's an interesting character on paper. Unfortunately, I agree with you. I don't think the writers of Hawkeye did a very good job at all of getting us interested in the character Echo. They made the character, let's just say they didn't do the character justice, right? And so they have so much so that some of us, including me, I admit, thought there was a possibility that the upcoming Echo show was just a fake placeholder for an actual Daredevil series. And they were just going to camouflage it by calling it Echo. And then at some point they'd announce it's not actually an Echo show, it's a Daredevil show. But it's not. It's actually an Echo show. Now, a lot of us have made some assumptions about what it could be about or not. We haven't got any details, but now we actually have some details about what the premise and context of the show is going to be. This comes to us from the folks over at Variety who write the following. Created by David Mack and Joe Quidessa, I hope I'm saying that name right, in 1999 as a supporting character for the superhero Daredevil, Maya Lopez, aka Echo, is a deaf Cheyenne woman with Olympic-level athletic skills and the ability to perfectly copy people's movements. In Hawkeye, the character was depicted as the leader of the Tracksuit Mafia. Love the Tracksuit Mafia. Bro. The series will see Maya leave New York. Now, this is where we get some details now. The series will see Maya leave New York for her hometown, where she reconnects with her roots and ends up at the center of a new crisis. Echo stars a largely indigenous cast, which also includes, and I'm sure I'm going to mispronounce the name here, Chasky Spencer, Tanto Cardinal, Devery Jacobs, who's in that amazing show Reservation Dogs, Cody Lightning, Graham Greene. Graham Greene is a classic Canadian actor for when there's any project in Canada that involves Indigenous people. Graham Greene's in it. He's in a lot of North American stuff too, in American films. And Zion McLaren, Indigenous director Sidney Freeland, Navajo, and Katarina McKenzie, I don't even know how to pronounce that, helmed the series, which is executive produced by Kevin Feige. Okay, so now we actually have some context. She's going to go back home to her family or where she grew up and like with a different cultural surrounding. This is the first thing that I've heard that has given me any interest in the show. And the reason it interests me is because, again, one of the things that I love about the MCU is when they try to tell completely different kinds of stories. This is something the MCU has not done yet. So giving us a totally different context, totally different scenario, totally different kind of cast of characters. Now I'm like, okay, leaving New York. Like a lot of these stories is about the small town person going to the big city. It's the big city person going back to the small town. And given the different cultural context of it, okay, so this is something new and unique and different. Okay, that's mildly interesting. I'm not going to lie and say it suddenly makes me super excited about this show. I'm not. And that's the showrunner's faults from Hawkeye, to be honest with you. It is interesting to note, though, that a lot of people early on, there was words going around that the main side characters in this Echo show were going to be Daredevil and Kingpin, because obviously they have a connection to her. No mention of them yet. Now, I think they will probably pop up. I think both of them will probably pop up, but it'll probably be very, very small cameo-ish type of appearances, stuff like that. But, you know, we'll see. Different reports coming around that maybe they pop up here and there. And so we'll see. But this is the first thing that's made me even a little bit interested. Do I think people are interested in the show? No. I am sensing no excitement or buzz online for Echo. None. I have never felt this little energy and excitement for an MCU property, like ever.
When is it coming out?
I don't know. They just started production on it, so I'm not sure.
But they're filming. They're actively filming.
As of this week, they're actually now filming.
Okay.
So I've never felt less enthusiasm for it. So I have a feeling maybe they shouldn't have done it. But listen, if Kevin Feige thinks they've got a story that's worth telling, let's give it a shot. Might end up being our favorite thing ever. But for now, yeah, it's kind of in an odd place. Mm-hmm. Chris, you hear these new details about it. Where has your excitement for Echo been, and what does this new information do to that?
Well, like you, Hawkeye wasn't my favorite of the series, but I did find Echo to be a very, very compelling character. That being said, there hasn't been a lot of hype about this, but I feel like this was the same kind of thing that when it was no one wants a Ms. Marvel show. No one's talking about this show at all.
I know. I felt some excitement from some people about that.
But I mean, if you can't make a deaf assassin a very compelling story, because I want to learn about that. I want to learn more about that. And for anyone too who's, annoyed with the wokeness of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, the Marvel Universe from the comics has always been diverse. And not every story is for you, right? We need to tell different stories for different people. And so I do think the more footage we see from this, the more production shots we see when we finally start seeing trailers, I'm hoping that gets people really excited, because in Feige, I trust. I believe in that man's judgment.
I just think, again, the writers of this show are going to have to do a better job than the writers of Hawkeye did to make her compelling the way the comic book character can be.
For sure.
Anyway, Aaron, you read this news. What does this do for your anticipation level of this?
Well, I mean, I I didn't watch Hawkeye. I'm going to be honest.
You're not missing much.
Yeah, and that's the thing is I really do hope that, like you said, the writers can make this an exciting story that people want to watch. I had no interest in watching WandaVision at all. I had none. And it was and remains my absolute favorite of the entire MCU streaming. Obviously, the streaming shows, not part of the movies. And I loved it, and I think that it will be very hard for someone to topple WandaVision for me. What I really loved about Moon Knight was getting a glimpse into a completely different world, with Mohammed Diab directing so many of the episodes and really creating the world of Egypt as it was supposed to be, and telling these stories and really bringing me into a world that I just was not familiar with. And so that's what I'm looking forward to in this, is seeing sometimes I've talked in the past about having superhero burnout or superhero fatigue. And for me, a lot of that comes from just seeing the same thing over and over again. You can only choreograph so many different kinds of fights. For me, it's always about the story. And when we have characters that are set in a different environment, then to me, that creates ultimately different conflicts, different challenges for those people and those superheroes, and a different story that can be told. And so I'm actually really looking forward to this because of the same thing that I stumbled upon in Moon Knight was, wow, I have been exposed to a whole new world that I was not familiar with before, and now I'm really intrigued by. So I'm looking forward to not only the storyline of her going back to her home and exploring what that looks like from a native perspective, but also the fact that she's deaf and what are the challenges that she encounters because of that, that we haven't seen before.
All right, guys. Questions? Oh, Ray. No, Ray.
I was just gonna add something. Like, this is the type of stuff that I actually like Disney Plus for, where they could just see what works, see what doesn't. Right. Because with what's going on right now, it seems like things get trendy like overnight. Things that people didn't care about the day before, they care about the next day. I meant where you have Apple TV Plus, where they have their checks and balances, when they have their shows. Disney Plus seems like, hey, we got this idea. Let's make a show. Let's see if people like it. If not, then we can move on from that and then try something else. I don't know. That's what Disney Plus is becoming to me.
Might be.
Yeah, and they also, these shows, we have to remember, it's not like they just came up with this idea a couple of months ago and they're now filming it. These shows are in development for years, and they are really, and they really work on them for a long time. And I'm with Chris. In Feige we trust.
Right.
All right, guys. Question is for you. What do you think about this? Where was your anticipation level for Echo? Where is it now that we've got some details? Has it changed at all? Has it always been high? Has it always been low? Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and leave your thoughts there. All right, guys. With that down, let's move into our fifth and final main topic today. Chris, what is our fifth topic today?
This comes from Peruvian legend. Heyo, Campea crew. Love the show. Viewer since AMC Movie Talk days. So reports have come out regarding a deal struck between Marvel and the Stan Lee venture. This deal includes the rights to use the name and likeness of the legendary Stan Lee. I don't know, but I'd rather just have Lee's name just being referenced somehow in the movies and not have him digitized into the movies. What are your guys' thoughts?
All right. Thanks a lot for sending that in. And yeah, look, when Stan Lee passed away, not only did we lose a living legend and all that kind of stuff, we also lost, as a totally secondary thing, not nearly as important, but a special little thing about the tradition of going to a Marvel movie, which was everybody was always looking forward to, what's the Stan Lee cameo going to be? And getting those little cameos. And I remember it was after Stan Lee passed away, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse came out, and it has a wonderful Stan Lee cameo in Into the Spider-Verse. And I remember you could hear people sniffling in the theaters when his thing came on, and that was great. And a lot of people have been asking the question, well, who's going to be the next one? Like maybe, you have maybe Robert Downey Jr. will make a quick cameo in every single movie from now on. It's like, no. That was for Stan Lee. Well, they might be coming back now. This comes to us from the folks over at The Hollywood Reporter, who write the following. In a unique deal, Stan Lee, the beloved co-creator of Spider-Man, Avengers, and Hulk, who died in 2018, is returning to Marvel Studios. Marvel has signed a 20-year deal with Stan Lee Universe, a venture between Genius Brands International and POW Entertainment, to license the name and likeness of Stan Lee for use in future feature films and television productions, as well as Disney theme parks, various experiences, and merchandising. The audience revered Stan, and if it's done with taste and class and respectful to who he was, it will be welcomed, says Hayward. He is a beloved personality, and long after you and I are gone, he will remain the essence of Marvel, said Andy Hayward, chairman and CEO of Genius Brands. It's a broad deal. All right. Bottom line, Disney now has the rights to the likeness, digitalization, old recordings, old images, audio, all that kind of stuff of Stan Lee that they are now free to use in feature films, movies, theme parks, and merchandising. Let's start with the small stuff and build up to the obvious one. Mm-hmm. Do I want to be able to go to Disneyland? Which I don't go to Disneyland anymore, but if I did, would I want to buy myself a Stan Lee plushie? Maybe. Would I want one of these Indiana Jones Funko Pops, but a brand new Stan Lee kind of thing, like a big fun?
Heckin' yeah.
Absolutely. So I love that part of the deal. And by the way, let me just mention here in the article itself, it does say it doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to start doing CGI Stan Lee as doing cameos in the movies. Necessarily. But it totally opens the door that they can. So let's just jump to the big question here. How do we feel about the idea of a digitalized or CGI Stan Lee making future cameos in MCU movies? I'm not going to lie to you guys. I'm a little torn. I'm a little bit torn. Because on the one hand, Stan Lee isn't with us anymore. The specialness of the actual man himself appearing in these movies is what was so special about it. Not a drawn picture of the man, not old footage of the man on a TV, but Stan Lee himself went down to set and he was in this movie and we're actually seeing him there. And he's not with us anymore. And regardless of what you do with CGI, whatever, that's not Stan Lee. You did, you got a piece of software and you rendered a thing out that looks like Stan Lee, but it's not Stan Lee. And so part of me honestly feels a little icky about it. Mm-hmm. Okay, that said, there's the other half of my brain, which is, it is such a beloved thing that number one, he loved doing, and number two, the audience loved seeing. And we're not talking about Stan Lee starring in the next Avenger. We're talking about quick cameo appearances. Is there something to be said? Would Stan himself love the idea that he continues to appear in Marvel movies even after he's gone? I have a feeling there's something in Stan Lee would have kind of liked that idea, that he would continue to appear in these movies even when he wasn't here anymore. So, and would the audience still get a kick out of it? Yes. So I will tell you straight up, I don't definitively know how I feel about this. On the one hand, I find something icky about it. It's an artificial thing. We know that's not Stan Lee. On the other hand, would Stan have gotten a kick out of still appearing in them? And will we as the audience still get a big smile and grin when it does, even though it's just a digital honoring sort of thing? I think they would. So I'm a little bit torn. You know what? I'm probably going to put together a poll in the live chat to see how you guys feel about it. But Aaron, let me go to you first. First of all, it has to be restated. This story is not saying Disney is now going to start having Stan Lee cameos in Marvel films, but the door is now open, and that's obviously the topic at hand. Should they? What do you think?
I am going to go on record. I will, I don't know. I will eat this wrapper if we ever, I'm like trying to think of it. I do not see Stan Lee ever appearing in any Marvel projects as a talking, walking, moving figure. I don't see that happening. the way that I imagine this coming to fruition is that he will maybe be on a billboard in the background of something,
yes.
or someone will open a newspaper or a magazine and there will be an image of him. I think that, yes, Stan Lee loved appearing in the projects, and there was something so special about knowing that it was actually him, even at his age, coming and putting on wardrobe or a costume. I mean, look at how much fun he had. He loved this world. And I think that for him to continue to live in this world that he created is really so special. I mean, he was such a beloved figure that I cannot imagine that this deal would have been struck unless it were very clearly outlined, the types, I mean, in the minutia of the contract, of like the ways that he could be portrayed. And for people that are, that are in the chat that are saying, oh, they should leave it to the family. Well, the family is part of this. Like,
yes, they're part of this deal. Yeah.
Yeah, they're part of this deal. There's an estate. I guess it's Genesis, or what was the name of the company? I forget. It was in the blurb, but the company that manages his estate, they represent him as, they represent his estate and his likeness, etc. And that all goes through the family. So yes, the family is a part of this, but I can see, as you said, specifically merchandising. I love the fact that this man who created all of this and wanted to physically be a part of it will get to live on, as they said, long after all of us are gone. As long as the MCU lives, the MCU will be synonymous with Stan Lee, but I don't see them creating a fake character of him moving and walking and talking like they tried to do with that James Dean movie. I don't see that happening. So to me, I don't find anything cringeworthy about this, because I just don't see it happening to that level. I see there being T-shirts being sold with his image still on it. I see, kids that are 13 growing up knowing who the person who created this world was, what he looked like, and having him continue to be honored as a fun little Easter egg that we continue to see. But I can't imagine the MCU ever doing it in a way that would dishonor him, but really would more so take the spirit of the way that he enjoyed being a part of these movies and infuse that in a way that was respectable and honorable for him and his family.
Let's bring up that quote again, because I like what you said there at the end, but this is what one of the guys, with the Stan Lee organization said. He's a beloved personality long after you and I are gone. Oh no, it was a little bit earlier. Where was it again? Where he basically said, if it's done in a respectful, where was it? The audience.
Yeah, the audience revered Stan, and if it's done with taste and class and respectful of who he was, it will be welcomed.
Yeah. So, I mean, I guess that could mean on the television in the background, on billboards, or it could mean an actual,
And by the way, I think it's also, and you're the lawyer of the group, so you can maybe shed some light on this as well. But when we're talking about licensing deals, it's not ownership.
No.
Not like
it's temporarily you have the right to use this.
Exactly. Right, but you can't just use it for any way you want. So when Hayward, the CEO of this organization, essentially who represents his estate, says if it's done in a respectful and tasteful way, it will be welcomed. Meaning that every time they go, hey, we want to use his likeness for this, it's not like they have carte blanche to do anything and everything they want. They still have to get an okay.
Depending on how they structure the license, but that very well could be written into the language of the license. Chris, you hear this. Number one, do you think this opens the door for a digital, CGI version of Stan Lee, maybe with a deep fake or whatever? And if they did, how would you feel about that?
I mean, just from the get-go, deepfakes are not my favorite thing. I understand it for something like creating a young Luke, but when it's to create an actor who's passed, it does just feel wrong. There is an ick factor, like you talked about. And I do prefer the kind of poster idea, because we've seen that in other shows. In Daredevil, you've got Officer Stan in the background, like we were talking about, chat. You've got him back there, and that's a great cameo. I love seeing his likeness in there. I'd love to see a Funko of him in there, or him put into a movie poster, or things like that, I think would work really well. Digitizing him just does feel a little odd. If that was truly his wish, I'm all for it. But the family had a lot of issues at the end there. There were so many legal things. Back when I was doing pop culture news on a different channel, mostly what we were talking about at the time was the drama between that family. Oh, it was awful. It was so horrifying. And especially if you ever got to meet Stan, we all feel like he's our uncle or a grandpa, right? He created all of the content that we love. And when you got to meet him, he just made you feel like you were the only person in the world. And so when you'd see these things about, what was happening to him, it's hard to trust that his family did have his best interest at heart. And it's really, really easy to speak for the dead, right? So I just really hope that if he is digitized, this is truly what he wants. He loved Cameos so much. So I hope it's just done in that respectful way that y'all were talking about, and that the man behind the estate is talking about as well.
Ray, I don't know. How would you feel about this if suddenly we went to go see Deadpool 3 and they back behind the strip club DJ booth, we see DJ Stan Lee again, just like he did in the first film, and it gives a quippy line as a cameo. I don't know. Would you be okay with that? Would you not?
No, I don't want any interactive digital Stan Lee. It's just not something I want to see. Like I'm with Aaron. Like if there's like a Deadpool movie and there's tons of pictures of Stan Lee, even when he was young. If he was like talking to someone while they were working on a Deadpool comic, put that picture somewhere in the background and have it like as a little Easter egg where people know it's Stan Lee, but then people don't know why they put that picture there. Oh, it's because he was going over that Deadpool comic with that writer or whatever, or something like that. Something where people actually will learn more about Stan Lee through research because of the picture. You know what I mean? Like, why did they choose this picture?
But
and
is anybody
place it
really
here?
going to do that? Is any audience member really going to look at that?
We'll talk about it on this show.
But I'm saying if they don't, they don't. But
And we will talk about it on this show, and we will help.
I would
The
educate
hardcore
person.
fans will, and I think a lot of times that's what those little cameos are for.
I meant, yeah, and then like maybe it'll bring some. If let's say the person in that picture is still doing comics, it'll bring them like some attention because a lot of comic book people don't get the attention they. Just something where what Stan Lee did will make it better for those that are carrying on for him. I mean, it's all about passing the torch. I think.
Here's the thing. I am flabbergasted by this. I put up a poll in the live chat asking, "Are you okay if a digital Stan Lee makes a cameo in a future MCU film?" I was expecting it to be like 95% no, 5% yes. It's 41% said yes.
Wow.
59% have said no. So still a majority are saying no right now. And again, I am totally torn on it myself. I don't know how I feel about it. Again, there's an ickiness factor to it, but at the same time, if it's something he would have got a kick out of doing, I don't know.
Can I ask you this? Let me ask, if we take out deep fake, if we go, okay, there is no deep fake of Stan Lee ever that's not on the table, that is not in the contract. It will only be a stationary image as an Easter egg or like something like that. Are you okay with that as long as there's no deep fake?
Oh, I don't see any problem at all in the world of like using images in the background. Like that's perfectly fine with or without the deal with this estate, as a matter of fact. I don't think anybody would have a problem with that.
So it's the deep fake
thing, yeah, or the pure CGI, whichever one you do. When you're creating
but we didn't
a new version of it.
and that's the thing. That's why I'm not as concerned about it, because we didn't hear any mention of a deep fake or a CGI.
No, but when they say that is covered, when they say they have the license to use his likeness.
Sure.
So it could cover that. So it's going to be interesting. Question is for you guys. I actually find this fascinating. You know what? I honestly don't know how I'm going to feel about this until they do it, and then I'm in the movie theater and I see it happen. That's not until then will I actually know how I feel about it, I think. So I don't know. Questions for you guys. How do you feel about this? Is this something that rubs you the wrong way? Or are you thinking, there's nothing wrong with it? I don't know. How are you feeling about it right now? Whatever your thoughts are, jump down into the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys, with all the main topics down out of the way, we are now going to open the super chat line. So if you guys have a thought, opinion, question, theory, whatever, but any or all the stuff that we talked about here today, you want to throw something in, go ahead and throw that into the super chat now and we'll read those off. But first, before we get to that, we want to take another second to thank another sponsor of the John Campea channel here, the great folks over at Athletic Greens. Hey guys, we want to take a second to thank the sponsor of this video, Athletic Greens. Now, when you get really busy, and you guys know that Ann and I are really busy, one of the first things that you sacrifice is eating healthy. And you know, I simply have never eaten enough vegetables in my diet, I admit it. So for a long time, I've been looking for a really good all-in-one supplement that helps me get those nutrients and vitamins that my body needs. And thank goodness I found Athletic Greens AG1. So what is Athletic Greens AG1? Well, with one delicious scoop of AG1, you're absorbing 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, whole food source superfoods, and probiotics to help you start your day right. And for me and Ann, it's easy. We get up in the morning, we pour a big glass of water and add 1 scoop of AG1. So many people today are taking some kind of multivitamin, and it's important to choose one with high quality ingredients that your body will actually absorb. And it's cheaper than getting all those different supplements yourself. And on top of giving you all those vitamins and nutrients, it also supports better sleep and quality of recovery and supports mental clarity and alertness. Right now, it's time to reclaim your health and arm your immune system with convenient daily nutrition. It's just 1 scoop in a cup of water every day. That's it. No need for a million different pills and supplements to look out for your health. And to make it easy, Athletic Greens is going to give you a free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you have to do is visit athleticgreens.com/mailbag. Again, that's athleticgreens.com/mailbag to take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate. And a big thank you to the folks at Athletic Greens for actually giving me the nutrition that I need and for being a sponsor here of the John Campea Show. Once again, guys, when you support our sponsors, you support us. Go on down to the description right near the top there, and you'll find their links and the promo codes there. Okay, guys, with that down, let's spend the rest of our time here today taking your live comments and questions you guys are firing into the super chat. Again, it is open now. It'll be open for the next couple of minutes, but get it in fast. All right, Chris, what do we got in the super chats?
We have a bunch of support here from Hulagu79, Kevin Cow. Hi, Kevin Cow. Kevin Peterson, and then from A. Marcellus. As a New Yorker, I always watch movies in Manhattan because our best AMC theaters are in the city. Luckily, most of our theaters were renovated in the last couple of years, so spacing got better.
Well, that's good too. And yeah, a lot is, you know what? I give AMC a lot of crap. I do. But I will say this. They have done a very good job of updating a lot of their decrepit, getting out of date theaters. They've put a lot of money that they got from the meme stocks into renovating these things and making them really good experiences to go into. So, hey, listen, I crap on them when they deserve it, but you also got to give them credit when they do. And they've done a very good job of that. All right, what's next?
From James Argenta. She-Hulk prediction. She-Hulk will lose a court case to Daredevil, then be one of her hookups in the show. Also, so glad that Wong is in She-Hulk.
Is Wong in She-Hulk?
I believe he's confirmed to appear in it. I don't know if we saw him in that trailer.
I didn't see the trailer. I did not know.
Wong is confirmed in every MCU movie and
TV show. Moving forward, he's the new Nick Fury. I
love that for Wong.
Everyone's happy when Wong makes an appearance.
Wong, I seriously, he's becoming one of my favorite MCU characters. I love him. All right, what's next?
From Ben Rayner. Hi, gang. John, I agree with you about Hulk, but at this point, can you really still blame the Russos? If it was just Infinity War and Endgame, true, then you could blame them. This is part 1 of 2.
See if we can find a Ben Rayner.
And
there we go.
There we go.
But this has nothing to do with the Russos, so maybe it was Kevin Feige's idea to make Professor Hulk. It's his blueprint director that they're just to fill out the gaps, right?
Well, look, I don't necessarily look. I just keep pointing out that it was under the Russos' watch that they did this to Hulk. I'm not saying it was 100% them. Certainly, I'm sure Kevin Feige obviously had to give his write-off and okay to it and all that kind of stuff. But it was in their movie, and then they continued to use him a certain way. And now we've moved beyond that. I was really, really hoping that when we saw Shang-Chi and Mark Ruffalo appears at the end as Mark Ruffalo, I was really hoping they were going to say, in an off-camera event, he reverted back to normal. That whatever procedure he did, stopped taken. And now he was human again. And then when Hulk will come out, we'd be that classic Savage Hulk that we really want to see. So I'm not saying that they're not going that direction is their fault, but it was under their watch. It was in their movies. And I'm sure Kevin Feige had something to do with it. All right, what's next?
From Amin. If Stan Lee was still there, do you think he would be cameoing in every single Marvel Disney show, or would he just stick to the films? I think he'd be in all of them.
Ooh.
He loves them.
I think if it were up to him, he would have been in all of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll say I think so. Yes,
Absolutely.
no?
Somebody in
Yeah.
the chat pointed this out because I didn't see it. The Teen Titans movie, supposedly, Stan Lee has a cameo in that, and they're all like, this is DC. And
The
he just
little
said,
animated thing?
Yeah, and he's just like,
He's like, I don't care.
I love comics so much.
I don't care.
So
I'm in
I
all of
think
them.
that's kind of my issue on, like, if that's what he really wanted, I think then, do have Stan Lee in everything.
All right. What's next?
From Andy, one of two. I went to the movies with a friend for the first time with him. We were watching Everything Everywhere all at once.
Best movie of the year.
But my friend was on his phone checking the time or looking, part two, through Snapchat every 5 minutes. We're sitting in the back, but it still bothered me. When he hit me up about going to the movies again, I left him on read.
Yeah.
As you should, Andy.
Yeah, I would ditch that friend.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
That ain't a
remember,
friend.
we're talking about it is your friend that you went to the movie theater with. You are acquainted, not a stranger. Slap that fucker in the mouth and tell him to put the fucking phone away
Yeah.
or to fucking leave.
Also,
Yeah.
who's still using Snapchat?
Yes, like
What?
is he posting his Vine videos on
Right.
Snapchat now? Like all right. What's
See, in
next?
Facebook groups still? God. Seconds from Disaster. What's up, Campea crew? I don't think this has been answered, but do you think Fury and Maria Hill were actually snapped, or could it have been Talos and Soren?
No, I think the movie made it pretty clear that it was actually them. So there was no subterfuge about that. So
I don't think Fury would have given away his beeper.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly, right? So I think they made it pretty clear it was them. So, I mean, like, they may retcon that or say something different later on, but until that happens, I think it was pretty clear it was really them. Good question, though.
Yeah.
All right, what's next?
From Casey Mack. Hey, John Campea and crew. It's been a while. Hope you all are doing well. Hope you are too, Casey. Let me just pass some info for you who's interested. There will be an Umbrella Academy season 3 trailer dropping tomorrow.
Yeah,
Oh,
I heard.
cool.
I was
Look,
going to say, you would probably know about this.
I love the Umbrella Academy. Now, I am, full disclosure, I'm a little bit biased. But the producer of the Umbrella Academy plays in my Star Wars role-playing game group with Chris Carr as well. But I love this show. I love it so much, and I cannot wait for season 3. The way the kind of a cliffhanger that season 2 ended on. You know what? They do their seasons right. They tell the complete story, and then their cliffhanger opens up the door for the next season.
Exactly.
Then they wrapped up the story of season 2, and then big cliffhanger that brings us into season 3. I love when television shows do that right, and this is one of them I cannot wait. All right, what's next?
From Blue Jay, the only time I tolerated the Nicole Kidman ad was when I watched The Northman, since she is, actually in the movie.
Yeah, there was an appropriateness to that about it being there, but I am so over it. But actually, I started getting some tweets and things from people that they're now actually airing that out on television, which is the only time that ad should be shown. It is a terrific commercial. But again, I will say this a million times. Why are you showing me a commercial when I'm already sitting in AMC theaters? And like I said before, it is like trying to get a girl to look at your Tinder profile when you're already having sex.
What
It
if you
makes
need
no
notes?
sense. What's that?
What if you need notes?
Or what if you
Okay,
want to
yeah.
encourage
What made you
them to
click?
go back to the theater again? Maybe this is a good time to just practice some deep breathing exercises. It's the same thing that they teach people in dealing with pain management is just how to breathe through it. So I highly encourage everyone. Like, we got to figure out how
Joey
long.
Bishop looks so unimpressed right now, the way she's looking at me. She's just
Joey
giving me
Bishop
this look.
is always unimpressed. But we had someone, I wish I could remember your name, and I'm so sorry, in the chat said that Nicole Kidman actually won a Pulitzer for public service for that ad. And it's true.
yeah.
I Googled it. And
How is a commercial for a corporation a public
That's what I
service?
thought.
Nicole Kidman
It was our
herself.
Roberto Blanco, by the way. Yeah.
Thank you, Roberto.
But she didn't win it for an AMC commercial.
She won it for the public service. I don't know. I'm not
I
on
don't
the
see how a
Pulitzer
commercial for a movie theater is a public
That's
service.
why I was like, are you trolling me? Is this a real thing? Is
No, it is a real thing.
You won an
actually-
award for this commercial.
I
Wow.
saw Roberto's post and I was like, really? And then I looked it up and so congratulations, Nicole Kidman, I guess.
Again, all
But
that
for
commercial
why?
does is it reminds me is that nobody goes to AMC theaters because every time it shows her in the theater, it's dead empty.
Dead empty.
Dead empty.
Exactly.
All right,
Great
what's
time
next?
to practice breathing.
From Jerome, what would you consider to be the similarities and differences between Daenerys Targaryen and Wanda?
I don't know. That's too big of an issue for us to sit here and talk about. And that's something I'd also have to think about. It's an interesting question, but I mean, they are two totally different characters. But
I'm sure there's a
I mean,
killer video. essay
obviously,
on that.
both of them started off one way, but moved towards through different events. The one big difference, though, is Because I think Wanda started out as a very good person. Daenerys was never a very good person. And that's the thing to me. Like right from the seeds of the beginning, you could tell she was a bit of a jerk. But she was also kind of brought up in a family that kind of left her that way.
Yeah, Daenerys really was. I mean, this is a much longer conversation, but yeah, Daenerys. I don't think
she did some very good things, but
she did a lot of really good things.
Even underneath the good things, though, there was always her own agenda, and I don't know. But I mean, again, larger topic for another time.
Such a huge topic.
What's next?
From Raymond, the MCU has been around with 20 plus movies, so you always
Getting
expect,
close to 30, by the way.
Wow.
You always expect post-credit scenes. At the end of a recent MCU film, a dad stood up and started hovering in his row. I got pissed and had to yell, "Sit down!"
Well, I mean, here's the thing. If just the credits themselves are rolling, as long as the post-credit scene hadn't started, it's fine if the credits are rolling. Somebody wants to listen. They had been sitting there. If they were there from the beginning of the trailers, they've been sitting there for 6 hours. So you gotta cut them a little slack. That
He might have had a hip issue.
Yeah, or listen, the legs, your ass is getting numb, your legs are. You just got to stand up and stretch. As long as the post-credit scene hadn't started yet, because yes, if the post-credit scene starts and some dude is still just standing there in front of people, that's ignorant. But if he's just doing while the credits are rolling, I think that's fine.
I think it's fine. And also, some people just don't care.
Yeah.
I mean, I have that moment too. I'm like, I can't believe people are leaving, but some people just don't care as much, or they're going to go home and see it on YouTube, so they don't have to sit through the credits.
He wasn't mad that they were getting up and leaving. He was mad because they didn't get up and leave. They just got up.
They just stood there.
All right,
That's
what's
fair.
next?
That's annoying. From Elizabeth Horado. The only time I've had a horrible movie theater experience was during No Way Home when a woman was live streaming the film. I would have reported her, but I felt bad for her small child.
Okay, that's two strikes. A, the small child, and B, the live streaming.
I mean, this is kind of unrelated. I still remember me and Ray going into Infinity War, and we sat beside this dad who brought his young son with him, who loved Thanos.
Oh.
That Thanos was so cool from the trailers and the commercials. That little kid, Ray, I don't know if you remember, that kid was like crying at the end. It's like, I felt so bad for him. All right, what's next?
From Suthius sending in a $20 super chat.
Thank you, Suthius, for the support, man.
I am the type who is always conscious of others' feelings and being an inconvenience. I never took any of my 3 boys to the cinemas until they were at least 4 years old. We waited until our first was 5 years old to fly 24 hours to Cambodia.
Wow.
That is very, very
and listen, I know a lot of people that feel the same way. Again, I think if your kid is basically a quiet kid and you want to get out and see a movie and it can be expensive to get a sitter, go out and bring your kid. Just be ready that, again, if your kid starts to be a distraction to the rest of the audience, take them out. And by the way, some really precious moments I've had in movie theaters are when there's been a young child, like not a baby, but a young child in a movie who will spontaneously out of nowhere yell something out at the screen. And like the whole audience goes, oh, or like laughs along. That's adorable. And normally it doesn't happen often. What's not so adorable is when an adult does that.
Yeah.
When an adult thinks, I'm actually a professional comedian, this whole audience wants to hear what funny thing I have to say now. And then they do it like every 15 minutes. Like, that's so freaking annoying. All right. Anyway, what's next?
From J Master. During Disney Upfront event yesterday in New York City, Kevin Feige showed up to announce the whole cast of Loki will return for season 2. Also mentioned Loki will begin production next month on June 6th.
Yeah, they did say that. They're going back into production on that. I'm actually a little bit surprised they weren't already in production on it, but get the ball rolling, make the MCU more convoluted with even more multiversal nonsense this year. Now, listen, I liked Loki. I didn't love the show, but I liked the show. What was it? Episode 3? I can't remember. One of the episodes is one of the worst episodes the MCU has done on TV, but overall, I like the show. So I don't know. We'll see. Look, Loki is one of my favorite characters in the MCU, so obviously I'm going to look forward to it. I just hope they make it better than the first season was. That's all I want. All right, what's next?
From Lucky BX. Hey, crew. I like the She-Hulk trailer. I can't help but think this takes place pre-Endgame because of Bruce's appearance. What do you guys think?
No, this is modern day. This is in the now. It seems like with the MCU, they're not time jumping around. All respect to the Loki series, but it doesn't seem like the Hawkeye series happened present day. The WandaVision, present day. it just seems like that's what they're doing with these. So I got no indication that this is because the world they're in does not look like a world that's living through the snap. Right? Because we've seen imagery about what the world was like in that 5-year gap from when Thanos snapped everybody away and before everybody came back. It was not a happy, bright, colorful world. It was sad and depressing. That didn't look like that here at all. So I think it's definitely going to happen in modern day. Modern day for the MCU terms. All right, what's next?
From Andy, I know why Riverdale survived the Axe of Zaslav now. It's because the Riverdale showrunners and writers are sharing their copious hard drugs with David.
Hey, listen, if people
that
are
jingle
still
jangle.
watching the show, that will fend off the Axe of Zaslav. He will stay his hand if people are actually watching the show. And listen, as much as I think the show is ridiculous now, the reality is this has had a pretty loyal, steady following.
Yeah.
They don't spend a lot of money on the show. It's one of their longer running series that's still going and still running. And suddenly, Chris got me kind of interested in the show again yesterday. Did you hear about this?
No.
Okay, so there are these 3 main characters, right?
Archie, Betty, and Veronica.
Archie,
Wait, you're
Betty, and
still
Veronica.
watching the show?
I finally stopped watching it, and Andy keeps filling us in, which I appreciate. because
So
I had to
here's the
quit it.
deal. Here's the deal. For those of you who missed this yesterday, because Chris gave me a great education. So apparently, first of all, Riverdale, for those of you who don't know, started off as a very normal show about this sleepy little town, and it was a murder mystery, and that was it. It has evolved to, got into like magic death Dungeons and Dragons cults, to, for some reason my computer went out, Dungeons and Dragon cults, to, now they have superpowers and stuff like that. So apparently now it's at a point where Betty and Archie are dating.
Okay.
And Archie has like this invulnerability superpower now.
Oh my God.
Why the fuck that is happening, I have no idea. And Veronica, Betty's bestie,
Yeah.
Who used to be with Archie.
has this kind of ability now, but like as everybody tries to have sex with her, it's like poisonous. It'll
like,
kill
"Let go
them, right? So Betty's like, my girl needs to get laid. So Archie, go have sex with her so she can get laid.
Wait, Betty's saying that to her boyfriend.
Yeah, go have sex with my best
Just
friend because
match.
you're the only one she can have sex with because you're invulnerable. You have the superpower of invulnerability. So if you have sex with her, you won't die. Everybody else will. My girl needs to get some.
So basically, Betty and Archie are swingers, is what you're saying.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, but
Part of
only
the-
with Veronica.
They're part of the lifestyle in a very specific way. She's their unicorn.
right.
All right. Riverdale,
It
ladies
sounds
and
like they
gentlemen.
just need to start a thruple. I don't know what the problem is here. It's like,
haven't they always been? If we're really looking
if
at
we're really looking at it, they always have been a thruple.
All right. And that is why the axe of Zaslav has not
it has
fallen.
not come down.
All
Thank
right,
you,
what's
Andy,
next?
for always keeping us informed on Riverdale.
I just got to say, Khonshu in the live chat is saying Archie is living his best life.
Clearly.
All right,
Oh
what's
my gosh,
next?
Andy says, and Betty watches in the corner. Legit.
Is that-
That Ted Baker wearing Vanilla Girl watch. Okay, good for you, Daddy. Okay. All right. Back to this. Tacky 75. She-Hulk, Marvel's horniest show.
There we go.
Yeah.
As we go on.
Yeah.
By the way, no, all jokes aside, I am actually very excited about this show. I can't
Yeah,
wait.
I
All
think
right.
it's going to be fun.
What's next?
From Zach. I was going to vote no in the poll until I heard Aaron and then switched. If they do it that way, I'm okay with it.
Yeah, you know what? And that's the thing. I think this is going to be, there's a million different ways this could go, right? We could do it and it's just a quick stand. Somebody walks by and stands, the digital stand or deepfake stand says something just kind of quippy and whatever. And it's quick and everybody in the audience laughs and has a good time. And then we'll all feel good about it. Or they can have a digital stand and it could be bad deepfake. And then he says something kind of cringy in which then all of us are going to hate it. So I was telling Chris during or did I say, I don't know. I said earlier that I'm honestly not going to really know how I feel about this until I'm sitting in a movie theater and I see it happen. And that's then I will discover how I feel about it. I don't think I'll know before that. All right, what's next?
From Jay Master, sending in a $20 super chat.
Thank you, Jay Master.
It was confirmed by Marvel the 9-episode series She-Hulk will see Benedict Wong reprise his role as Wong. And did you guys see Frogman makes his MCU debut in the trailer? Thoughts?
I did not. But look, if we're going to see, we obviously know that Wong and Abomination have been coming in and out. Like he's been sneaking Abomination out of prison to go and do these fight things. He's helping him or training him, whatever. So it's not surprising to hear that. What I love hearing is it's 9 episodes. Love that. Because this 6-episode crap is
Doesn't
not
work.
working. Not working at all. 9 episodes, great, just as long as it's not like 22-minute episodes. Then I think we'll be good. But I love hearing that, J Master. Absolutely. All right. What's next?
From Joel LK, sending in a $20 super chat.
Thank you, Joey.
Hi, you've probably been to a Marcus Theater.
Never been.
But they do something that drives me nuts. After the trailers and right before the movie begins, the CEO comes on and gives a cringy speech. It hurts the experience.
I don't mind the idea of a movie theater, particularly an executive of a movie theater chain, saying, "Hey guys," kind of like a pilot in a plane. "We know you have many options to fly. Thank you for flying Air Canada," or whatever, right? I don't mind the idea of a CEO coming on and saying, "Hey, you guys who just came to our theater, thank you for coming," or something like that. But you're right. Like, okay, we already just sat through 25 minutes. We're kind of waiting to get to the movie. So thank you for saying thank you, but can we move on past this? I mean, it depends on how it's executed, I guess. I've never seen it. All right, what's next?
From Armchair Fandom, She-Hulk trailer was a cheese fest.
Wrong.
I disagree. I mean, hey, like that's a beautiful thing, man. If that's how it hit you, that's perfectly fine. I thought it was like, and I mean this in the most complimentary way, I thought it was Ally McBeal to the neck. I loved it. I thought it was really good. All right,
I am
anyway.
lactose intolerant and sign me the fuck up.
All right, what's next?
From Gilman LaBelle, one of two. Welcome back, John.
Thank you.
Speaking of frustrations regarding movie theaters, one of the main chains in Quebec, Cinemas Guzzo, did I say that right? Guzzo?
Maybe.
Doesn't even have reserved seating yet.
Okay.
Is there a second part?
Oh, is there a part two?
Do.
Okay. Anyway, we'll just get to that if we get to it. Again, that is one of my big things. It's the dark ages. Like, how do you not have assigned seating? It literally, I could set up assigned seating in your software in about 10 minutes. You'd be up, running, no problem, easy breezy, no issue. There's just no reason not to have pre-assigned seating. There's no legitimate reason not to have it. I don't understand it. It's easy to implement. All right, anyway. Sorry about that, Guillaume, that you got to live with that, dude. All right, what's next?
From Wayne Edwards, happy Wednesday. Have any of you heard of the book Blood, Sweat, and Chrome? It's about the 20-year journey of making Mad Max Fury Road. It's an awesome read. Making movies is really hard.
Oh, making movies is extremely hard. I have never read that. Sounds amazing. I would love to see a documentary about it. I mean, there have been some great documentaries about making of movies. Obviously, we've talked about a couple of them recently, but I mean, that one sounds great. And
Is Fury Road the most recent one?
Fury Road is the most recent
Oh,
one, yeah.
well, yeah, there were a lot of problems with that, namely with the conflicts between the actors starring in the movie.
Yeah, if you didn't know, Charlize Theron and Tom Hardy, they're not on each other's Christmas card list.
Definitely not.
So, like, it's hard enough to make a movie than when you've got actors in it who don't get along with each other. That's got to be a nightmare. All right, what's next?
From King Mike Todds, I'm sorry, this show looks bad. They should use makeup like Gamora. This show and the Ms. Marvel show, I'm going to wait to binge the whole series. I love you guys, by the way. Rob, get better soon.
Rob, get better soon. You can't just do makeup with She-Hulk.
She-Hulk is not.
No, you can't do it.
Yeah, She-Hulk is. There's not an actor playing the She-Hulk version
Who could look like She-Hulk.
right?
Yeah.
Like it's not makeup. It's CGI.
Yeah, it's just not possible. I think that would look like in as much as the CGI is presenting some challenges for us to see right now, if they try to do it in makeup, it would be a joke.
Yeah.
Well, not only
None of
that,
us
but
would buy
the
it.
challenge of finding, because then you would have to find an actor to portray the She-Hulk version of the. And no, it just doesn't work.
Well, and you'd probably have to do a lot of forced perspective shooting like they did for Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
Which y'all know I love a practical effect. That's my jam.
If it's called for and if it works,
But I don't think that would have been executed properly here. And it would have taken up so much time, and time is money.
Yeah. All right. Just go back and think of, it was great for the 70s, but just try to think of Lou Ferrigno's Hulk.
Yeah.
I mean, is that really what you wanted? No. No. Anyway, that's just our take. All right, what's next?
From Ulatan, I love winning time. If the show spins off, what other dynasties would you like to see? I'd love to see a Detroit Bad Boys series.
Yes! Oh my God, I would love that. That would be amazing.
The Bill Lane beer and so
Is that when Michael Lawrence and
Isaiah-
Will Smith go to Detroit?
No, the Bad Boys of Basketball in Detroit.
Yeah.
It was
Bill Lane beer, Isaiah. I mean, that whole Rodman was part of that in the earlier days
wasn't
as well.
Charles Barkley part of that too?
No, Barkley.
Sixer, but he used to always get in a fight with like Rick Mahorn.
Yeah, and I
It was not Rick Mahorn. It was the other guy.
But BTW, shout out to Rick Mahorn, who I love, friend from Detroit, and is awesome. Like, just that whole time period was also just a really cool time in basketball too.
I'll
So
be
if there
honest,
was
I'm
going
not
to be a
interested.
spinoff, I think that would be fun. And you're right, Charles Barkley was not. He was not part of the
A Piston,
Pistons,
yeah.
but he was definitely part of that world.
I wouldn't be interested in it at all. Not because it's Detroit. You're just gonna do the same thing again, just with a different team this time. Like I wouldn't mind seeing look. This show is called The Dynasty of the Lakers, right? Like winning time, whatever the subtitle is. I don't mind seeing them move through different time periods, like starting with Dr. Buss and Magic and Kareem, and then maybe moving forward, getting into the Shaq and Kobe era and stuff like that. I don't mind that, seeing that continuous story, but just to pick, say, I don't know, the Phoenix Suns, and now we're going to tell, and then you're just doing the same thing over again. I don't know that I'd be interested in it, to be honest with you. So I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, but if it's done well,
If it's done well, but
there's a lot of stories to be told.
all right. What's next?
From James LH. Hi, John. A while since I could send a live chat. So Ford and Miren, Mosquito Coast reunion. Also, at last, Everything Everywhere UK releases this Friday.
Wait a second. Was Helen Miren in Mosquito Coast?
I don't know what that is.
I don't know what that is.
Oh, it's a wonderful movie. Mosquito Coast is wonderful. Shit, was that Helen Miren? I never even thought of that. Anyway, thank you for pointing that out. All right, what's next?
From Joe Andis Toke. Gave Pentaveret a chance, and it's Love Guru bad. Oh no. The only consolation is Jeremy Irons doing voiceover for the title sequence. It's hilarious. Oh, and the orgy scene is also funny. Bring on the filthy.
Listen, you guys know I got so excited when I heard Myers, Good Canadian Kid, was coming back to do the Pentaveret, which is, of course, a spin-off gag from So I Married an Axe Murderer, one of the greatest comedies of all time. And then the trailer came out. And the trailer was not great. I'm like, okay. And then I heard some early feedback coming out of it, and it was all bad. And I'm like, I'm not going to watch it. It would just break my heart, because I was so excited for it, and I love Mike Myers, and I don't want to see it. It's just going to break my heart. I don't want to see it. So have you guys ever had like something you were super looking forward to, but then you heard it was bad, so you just avoided it because you didn't want to have your feelings hurt?
I'm trying to think.
Probably,
of
but
something.
I'm having trouble.
I can't think
I'm
of
having a
something
block
immediately.
coming up with it in the moment.
All right. What's next?
From 2 Johns 1 Cup. Hashtag Aaron for president.
There we go.
I can't tell which one I like more, Aaron for president or 2 Johns 1 Cup.
All right.
I want to see the 2 Johns 1 Cup reaction video. Sorry.
Boy, that's an internet
Moving
thing that should have
on.
disappeared a long time ago. All right. What's next?
From Casey Mack, 1 of 2. Also, do any of you have any interest of checking out Alex Garland's Men this weekend, or even checking out Chippendale Rescue Rangers? Is there a second part?
Oh,
There we go.
Oh, there it is.
Believe it or not, I've actually been hearing some good things about Chippendale, and we'll be looking to check it out on Friday.
listen, I love Alex as a filmmaker. I've really enjoyed his other movies. Men looks, nothing about the marketing for Men has been appealing to me. Now, we may hear that it's genius and unbelievable, and if we do, great. But like that first trailer, I was so excited that Alex's new movie, Men, is coming. I'm like, okay, let's see the trailer. I was like, well, I don't know anything about this movie now. Nothing. I don't know who the characters are. I don't know what's going on, blah, blah. The second trailer came out, was marginally better, was a better trailer, but still I just didn't see anything in it. Unlike the marketing to his other films always felt very compelling. This one, there was nothing for me. So no, I am not even planning on watching it unless I hear from, like, I don't know, maybe you go see it and you tell me you love it, then I'll go see it. But I don't know. What do you think about it so far?
It honestly, and you know how I feel about horror, it honestly seems like a very compelling kind of thing because we have one actor portraying so many different roles in this. But good old Megan O'Neill, my bestie in the chat, she's my horror connoisseur who I usually am like, can I see this? Should I see this? Because she's really honest with me of like, oh no, you'll have nightmares forever. Or she'll tell me like when to close my eyes when we watch stuff together. But I think it's an interesting concept that just hasn't been executed well in its marketing.
Yeah, the marketing has been really bad. All right, what's next?
From Amin, I'm sure you had wished it was better circumstances, but how did it feel to be back home for the weekend? And will you still be at Celebration next week?
It has been 2.5 years since I've been able to be home. Look,
Wow.
everybody loves home. I really love home. I am Canadian to the core, and I'm going to say something's a little bit embarrassing, but every time I get to Canada, whether I drive over the border, fly over the border, whatever, at some point when I'm alone, I get down on one knee and just touch the ground with my hand. I put my hand down on the ground. I love being home. I particularly love being in my hometown of Hamilton. And I love it. I am, Ann and I will move back there someday. Like one of these days we will move. I don't know when exactly. It's not in the immediate future's happening, but I just feel more myself when I'm at home. I miss home very, very much. So thank you for asking. I do wish it was under better circumstances, but so thank you for asking. Appreciate that. All right, what's next?
From Carlos, was Illuminati Professor X a future X-Men 97 version?
I don't think so. I think they definitely made it feel like that, to be very reminiscent of that. They even when he comes out on screen, if you listen and you get past the audience cheering, you can hear there's this little subtle, it's not loud, do, which is of course the theme from that anime thing, but I don't think it's meant to be that this is the direct that same character. I don't think that was
it's just so that if you're a kid, you go, that was the song of my people.
Yeah. Just hear that little music note, just a few notes. It just made my heart happy.
It's all the nostalgia. I had a binder of my X-Men trading cards as a kid that they were my prized possession. So just hearing that little chord progression was like,
yeah, very exciting. All right, what's next?
From Chromatin Kiss. Have any of you checked out the series Pachinko on Apple TV Plus? It's a multi-generational family story where Korea was annexed by Japan. Highly recommend.
You know what? You are the second person to write in and tell me about it. The first person who wrote in to talk about it, I had never heard of it up until that point. So this is the second time I've heard. So no, haven't had a chance to check it out because between when I heard about it and now, I obviously had to take an emergency trip up to Canada. But I will check it out at one point because other than Jason Momoa's C, and I love Jason Momoa, did not like C. But other than that, everything I've seen Apple TV put out has been top shelf.
Absolutely.
So I will. Have either of you guys seen this yet?
I haven't seen it, but what I will say, I live very close to Koreatown in Los Angeles, and I go to a lot of restaurants, and there's a lot of cool places to go to, and I see posters everywhere for it. And this is one of the things that kind of drives me crazy about marketing. It's like, I understand that this is about a Korean family, but I want to see ads for Pachinko outside of Koreatown as well. And so obviously you have your core demographic of people who are going to be interested in this show, and it's great that you're marketing to them. But why is it when I'm driving around Los Angeles, the only place that I see an advertisement for this show is in Koreatown? That, advertise it somewhere else because I'm really interested in this show.
Yeah.
All right. What's next?
From Fredo. Hey guys, y'all rock. It's always nice to have Aaron on the show.
Oh, thanks.
Ray, you were speaking facts about Stanley.
Oh, I'll tell you what. Don't be fooled. Don't be fooled. Every once in a while, like Ray comes up with these great nuggets and everybody goes like, wait a minute, where'd that come from? Or like, seriously, like I say, I don't know nothing. And then we'll be talking about, oh man, who was that dude in that 1957 thing? And we go, oh, that was Charles Olden Bay. Like, how the fuck did you know that? Like, how many times
That's
in this
so
show?
weird. That weirds me out too.
How many times on this show have I suddenly turned over and looked at Ray and go, how the hell did you know that? It happens a
Ray's
lot.
biggest
Adventures in
fan is
Babysitting.
my husband. Tom
Babysitting.
loves Ray. He is Tom and Ray have some sort of like bromance
Yeah, we
happening.
do.
They don't see each other
Ray
that
Day.
often, but when they do, there's a lot of love there.
It's ever since that poker night where I won the whole thing on my birthday.
I remember
and Tom
that.
cheered me on, and I look back, I was like, he's cheering me on.
Yeah.
He
Yes,
loves you,
man.
Ray.
That's-
By the way, did we
loves
miss one
you.
from Chef Rigo?
We did, yeah. I need
Yeah.
to go back. for
Okay,
that
let's
one.
get back.
Chef Rigo, no question, just poured at work.
Yeah, we went and ate there the other night. Me, Ray,
Yeah.
and our buddy Ryan. We went to
I
eat there.
got cake and ice cream.
Dude,
we got
you didn't,
cool
you didn't, oh, no,
you didn't
no,
have
no.
any,
Hey,
did you?
True story.
I love eating.
We went to, there's this great, what's the style called where they cook it right in front of
I
you?
love hibachi.
So Chef Rigo works at a restaurant that's called Shogun, not far from here.
Okay.
And so
He showed out that night too.
Yeah.
He
so
did all
we
the
went.
tricks.
Yeah,
He
did
showed
all-
out at
it was
Shogun.
it was great. It's a great place. The food is great. So we get there, right? And we're sitting there, and Ray. I'm sorry, you guys heard this before. I'm just gotta tell her. So Ray sees there's a bunch of kids at one table where they bring one kid's birthday. And they brought them out a little bowl of ice cream with them, whatever on it. And Ray's like, I want to have that.
I want
No,
that.
John.
I want
It was
that.
every table had a birthday.
He actually took the little kid's ice cream.
He actually went up, snapped the kid, took his ice cream, said,
Every
"Life's hard,
table
kid."
had a birthday, and they would pass by, and I'm like, if that's on the menu, I want that. So I asked, I don't know if you guys have ice cream on the menu, but I want that. And the lady's all, "Oh, is it your birthday?" I'm like, "No, but I want it." And
The answer
and she
is
ended
always
up
yes.
bringing me out some, and she made mine look way better than the one she was bringing
Yeah,
out. I was
they
like,
just came out and gifted Ray.
I mean,
It's like, I
hibachi
want that.
really is such a great thing for a birthday party.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I would like to do that for my birthday this year. Shogun Jeffrey, go.
All right, what's next?
From Quindell Newton, sending in a $50 super
Oh,
chat.
thank you, Quindell, for supporting us on that level. It's very generous.
The new images of Thor: Love and Thunder, we see the goddess Bas, the Egyptian / Wakandan god, sitting with Jane and Valkyrie, where what looks like the meeting of gods in Olympus. Could this be our tie-in with Moon Knight and the larger MCU?
I don't think it'll have anything to tie in with Moon Knight, but yes, somebody pointed out that Bast was in the image. I'm like, I didn't see that. Then I looked at the image again because somebody brought that up. I'm like, oh my God, that is Bast. That's amazing. But there was a Bast statue as well in the pyramid in Moon Knight. I think a lot of people miss that. So I don't think this is going to be a connection to Moon Knight at all, but it does show that there's a larger pantheon at play here, and maybe we'll meet her. I don't know. All right. Anyway, it's when you go back, because it's a big, bright image, right? The picture of mighty Thor, Jane, and King Valkyrie sitting side by side. It is a bright, beautiful image. And the statue head, the bust is dark, right? And so you don't really even notice it. And then when you actually zoom in on it and look, it's like, oh my gosh. And you notice that the headdress she's wearing is the top of the Black Panther thing again. And it looks fantastic. It looks really, really great.
Yeah.
And so
it
I
looks
hope
like they're
she's there.
having like a meeting, a community meeting about Hoodlum Gore the God Butcher right there.
Yeah, we got
What
the
should we
Steve-
do
That's
about
true.
him? You know,
Then he
So-
shows up and butchers them all.
Yeah.
All right.
Get
Thank you
butchered.
so much for sending that in. I appreciate that very much. It's really generous. Thank you for supporting us on that level. All right. What's next?
From Blake, the past 10 times I've gone to the movies, I have had to ask people to get off their phone, stop talking, or get the theater staff involved. No manners.
Oh, well, look, despite all of my complaints, I have to say the stuff that involving audience misbehavior, and maybe it's just because I live in Los Angeles, that is more of a movie-centric city, whatever. It honestly doesn't happen to me very often. I mean, the phone thing, yes. People check in, look at all of a sudden a bright light pops up in here and there. But again, not people talking on phones or stuff like that. I don't have too much of a problem with people talking in theaters too much. I don't mind it if a couple of people are sitting beside each other and they lean over and whisper to each other. That's fine with me. I don't mind it. But I haven't experienced too much, right?
I just had this thought that could combat that. The back of every chair has a little water squirt. And if it detects a phone, it's like, the dog barking things on
Yes.
the
I love it.
so funny.
I mean, I
Screw
think
that. Make it an electric shock.
But I think the bigger issue is just that we are now in a culture, and I'm part of this myself, where we're so used to having our phones at all times that it has really become an addiction. What's that documentary about? I always want to call it The Social Network, but I know that that's wrong. I know the chat will know. There's a documentary about the science behind the addictive quality
Yeah,
of
I
cell
saw it.
phones.
They looked really, about I thought thinking about social media. Oh, I
Yeah,
don't
it's
know.
about social
Oh,
media,
yeah.
but I think that it's true just about just cell phones in general. Is we have this there's
The social dilemma.
the social dilemma. Thank you. I think that it is so imperative that we all watch this movie, The Social Dilemma, because it really they interview a lot of people who worked at a lot of these social media companies, Facebook, even Pinterest, and they talk about the development of these things that cause people to be addicted to it. And we really just need to be more aware of our addictions to our phones in general.
All right. What's next?
From Film Code Podcast, I always thought they should have done a new cameo person in the movies going forward. Like, imagine Meryl Streep as Meryl Streep being caught in the middle of a battle between Thor and Gore.
Yeah, I disagree. I never thought they should replace the Stan Lee cameo with somebody else cameo. It was Stan Lee because he was the creator of it all.
Yeah.
That was meaningful. Just putting in somebody to be the next cameo person, I never thought there was any value in that. All right, what's next?
Jay Master sending in a $50 super
Thank you,
chat.
Jay.
Thanks. Fun fact, Marvel Disney Plus series Echo lead actress Alqua Cox is actually deaf and has a prosthetic leg in real life. Yeah. I'm excited for the Echo series, which makes this really special and heartwarming. Echo premieres on Disney Plus 2023. Yeah, I do think it's amazing that they found an actress who fits the requirements of this character. I think that speaks very, very highly to what Disney's trying to do with representation and getting casting right.
Yeah, You know, it's one of our viewers sent me this article in the New York Times that came out yesterday called Let Actors Act. And it basically kind of reflects everything that I've been talking about. Like, I don't believe doing Echo, you had to get an actress who was deaf to play it. I think actors all play characters that they aren't in real life. However, if you can find the right person, and the fact that she is actually deaf, that is going to give her a big advantage in nailing all that as the character is that, because she lives it and she knows it. So I think there is something really cool about it. And that's it. It doesn't, again, I think people can play things that they are not. Absolutely. But in this situation, I think it actually benefits her in the performance that she can give.
Absolutely. I think it's an interesting ongoing question because, the cast of Coda talked about this a lot, of deafness not being a costume. And that's why they were so passionate about having a deaf cast be part of that story. So I do think it's something that just needs to be an ongoing communication between movie studios and the people making films and everything to talk about how we're going to approach certain topics, certain disabilities, things like that, just to make sure that, it's being portrayed in a truthful manner is ultimately what needs to happen.
And also opening up the opportunity for performers who have disabilities to still be able to be in the world of performers.
Absolutely.
And my friend Kenneth Mitchell, who played my husband on Astronaut Wives Club, he was diagnosed with ALS. And as he started to lose his ability to walk and to be able to use his arms, he was still able to work on the Star Trek series. I'm not sure which one of the most recent ones. And I thought that it was a really wonderful move of them to go, hey, we're still going to acknowledge the fact that you are a performer. And so your disability may limit your ability to do certain things, but that's not going to prohibit you from working. We're still going to be able to be inclusive to people of all abilities.
All right. What's next?
From Fifi, I find it funny people are accusing She-Hulk of being anti-male crap when most of the fans of She-Hulk have mostly been a male fan base. My own boyfriend loves She-Hulk more than me, LOL.
Well, I'll just say, anybody saying that is a fucktwit, because there is nothing anti-men in that trailer at all. Again, there are a lot of people out there with pre-assigned political agendas who just think anything with a woman, anything with somebody who's not a straight white male is anyway. They're just fucktwits. Pay no attention to them. All right. Okay, we're gonna keep going here. Listen, we are over time and we still have a lot of questions to go, so we're gonna start moving it kind of quickly here. So let's get into it. What's next?
From Gary Meyer, sending in a $20 super chat. Thanks, Gary. Just saw the trailer for The Old Man with Jeff Bridges. Liked it. Have you seen it? And what did you think?
God, no, but sign me up. A movie called
awesome.
Oh, wait a minute. I did not see this. I did not see it, but I remember us talking about this ages ago. Oh my God, a movie called The Old Man with Jeff Bridges.
It looks really, really good.
What's the basic gist?
So it looks like he's some former hitman or something like that who has to kind of go away from his family to help protect them. The trailer is very, very mysterious. And it's him with these two dogs, and he's talking to his daughter, the actress who was Amy on Judging Amy. Is that the name of the show where she was a judge? Something like that. I don't know. But it just looks really, really compelling.
Wait, so wasn't that your show?
My show?
Were you not on Judging Amy?
I was never on Judging
You
Amy.
were definitely in a show where there was a judge.
I've been in lots of shows with judges, yes.
But no, it was like the premise of the show was the character was a judge.
Are you thinking Made in...
recently.
All Rise or Made in Jersey?
No, Made in Jersey. That was
Made in Jersey. She was a lawyer, Janet Montgomery.
She was a
I
lawyer.
played her
Okay,
sister.
sorry. I got
Janet Montgomery.
confused. All right.
Yeah, it looks really interesting.
What's next?
From Love Daggerborn. Now that Amazon owns MGM, how big a chance do you think that Stargate will return to the screen? And if so, what way do you think? New TV series or a complete reboot?
I think they will reboot it, and I think it will be a new series. They're definitely going to listen. The Stargate IP is a valuable IP. They ran it into the ground a little bit, but still, it's a recognizable IP. It's a great universe with great storytelling potential. I think they'll do it as a series. All right, what's next?
Come from K Major. Death by Snooze going to be a real thing in She-Hulk.
Yeah, don't laugh. When she picks up that guy and starts walking to the bedroom, all I'm thinking is, how's that going to work? Because that could be real dangerous. Anyway, all right, what's next?
This is the second part for
there it is.
There we go. So this is about the Marcus Theaters.
Yes.
Last time I went to the movie, started 10 minutes late and no lights before the showing for the seats. Absolutely unacceptable. That's why I mainly go to Cineplex nowadays, LOL.
Yeah, Cineplex is the main movie theater chain in Canada. Yeah, look, there's probably 100,000 movie screenings that happen in North America every single day. with that, the odds are there are going to be technical problems here and there. But if you find in that particular theater, there are always issues like that, not that specific one, but always issues like that are hurting your experience. Yeah, time to find a new movie theater, man. All right, what's next?
From Fredo, John, you ready for Volks vs. Max?
Oh, listen, the first 2 fights between these guys were legendary. And here's the problem with Volkanovski and Max Holloway. The problem is nobody in the world in that weight class comes close to the two of them. This is why they're fighting for a third time, because nobody else comes close to them. Every time Max fights somebody else or Volkanovski fights somebody else, they walk through them. So all they have left is to keep having these two guys fight each other. It'll be the third fight, but yeah, it should be a barn burner. All right, what's next?
From Jerome, why didn't they cut off Thanos' hand in Avengers? Infinity War.
Oh yeah, that'd be good.
I don't think they had the means of doing it at that moment. And so in that moment, they were trying to pull the thing off, but I don't know that they had. Listen, if Hulk punching him in the face did not tear Thanos' head off,
True.
what did they have that was going to cut through and cut off Thanos' hand? I'm not sure that any of them had a weapon. Like, none of them had a Stormbreaker like Thor
Yeah.
did. So I'm not really sure that they had something that could do it.
I think
They should
mainly
have
it
just
would've
got a
been-
zip tie and put it really tightly around his wrist.
Like, remember, Iron Man threw everything he had at Thanos, and all it resulted in was a little cut. Little cut. What did they have that was going to cut off his hand? All right, what's next?
From Franco, just thank you for recommending Everything Everywhere All at Once. Loved it. And screw cats.
Nope.
Yes, that's right. F cats and their diseased filth. No, I'm just making up words now. But I still am amazed at Everything Everywhere All at Once. It right now we're getting close to June. It's still my #1 favorite best movie of the year. Just so great. You saw it, right? And you liked it?
I love that
Oh,
movie.
so
I think
good.
it's so wonderful. Logan wants to see it like once a week.
Have you and Tom had a chance to see it yet?
Where can we watch it?
It's at AMC Burbank. I know that.
Where can we watch it with our 6-month-old child?
AMC Burbank.
during the
yeah.
day.
Do you have any Mommy and Me screenings?
Just bring those headphones you brought
Oh,
for,
yeah, that's
for
true.
him when you brought him to the
Yeah,
Batman
he
screening.
he is a good movie going
All right, what's next?
human.
From yeah, we got
Yes.
the second part of this one already. Ryder, could they not paint She-Hulk green like Gamora and do some post enhancements instead of full CG? Not
No.
totally familiar with the character.
Yeah, again, you're pushing the lines of making it look as ridiculous. Again, at the time, it was fantastic, but the 70s Lou Ferrigno Hulk were ridiculous. I think it would have been Gamora looks one way. She-Hulk, you're talking about something totally different. I don't think it would have worked at all. This is the only way you can do the character really without. I think as a little bit jarring the Uncanny Valley is with the CGI, and I think it's a little bit of a problem too, it would have been worse, I think, if they tried to do it makeup. Anyway, what's next?
From Nicholas, your Maple Leafs are the Cowboys of the NHL. What about my star goalie, Ottenganger, with the 64 saves? There's so many words I don't
No,
know.
they are not the Dallas Cowboys because the Dallas Cowboys have won Super Bowls in my lifetime. The Toronto Maple Leafs have never been to the Stanley Cup final in the entire length of my lifetime. The entire time I've been alive, they've never even been to the Stanley Cup, let alone won it. So no, unfortunately, they're not the NHL's version of the Dallas Cowboys. All right, what's next?
From Omar OVO. I mean, Stanley loved doing cameos, so it isn't that disrespectful for the MCU to continue his cameo legacy, LOL. But I would prefer it to be an image and not a full-on Luke Skywalker CGI man.
To me, it's not about being respectful or not, because I have no doubt that Stan would be perfectly fine with it. I honestly think he'd probably be very enthused by it. So it's not about whether it's respectful or not. It's about how will I, as an audience member, respond to it. And I'm not sure, because again, on the one hand, it'll be great and fun, but on the other hand, I know it's not really him, and that's the whole specialness of it. So I just don't know, but I don't think it's about being respectful or not. All right, what's next?
From Nathan Oswald, I would be okay with a background pic of Stan, or maybe something like Stan's Diner or Lee's Bookstore. That's cute.
But here's
Yeah.
the funny thing. You mentioned he popped up in
Daredevil.
the DC one.
And Teen Titans. Mhm.
Right? I don't think they even need a licensing deal to do that. I don't even know that they would need one. So the fact that they have signed a big budgetary 20-year deal to get that licensing, get those image rights and all that kind of stuff, that's what kind of makes me think they're going to do more than just that. But I would be fine with it that way too, just seeing a picture of him in a background of a scene. I'd be totally good with that, but I think their intentions are more. We'll
And
find
could
out.
I also just want to say this when we talk about the Luke Skywalker deepfake? Luke Skywalker is a character. Stan Lee is a real person.
Yeah, that's a good distinction.
Huge difference.
Yeah.
And that's also when we talk about doing any sort of deep fake with like Black Panther is a character and doesn't need to be carried on in as a cameo unless it makes sense for the story. So we have to make sure there's a distinction between real life human being and characters that are not real.
That's a good distinction to make. All right, what's next?
From Sean, possible bright side of the normalization of supers is that it could intentionally or not be in service of making mutants different in universe.
Yeah, I guess. But again, I've never even understood in the comic books why the general public in the comics were so loved superheroes, all these beings with superpowers, but so hated the mutants. Like I've never really felt the comics, even the comics themselves, ever did a real good job of explaining that. But I just accepted it, and it's perfectly fine because the story of the X-Men is so great. But yeah, that's something we're gonna have to deal with. Maybe that will be one of the unintended benefits. You might be right. All right, what's next?
From Jermaine King. John, I love you and Chris, and I hope Rob gets well. But I was hoping that you'd be on vacation with Ann, and all of you would miss today's show, so Aaron would have to host. An Aaron-hosted show would be loco. Jermaine wanted me to tell you in the chat, too, that he means this as the highest compliment.
I love Jermaine. Yeah. Jermaine, you are a king, and thank you so much. And you're right, it would be loco, and I don't think anyone needs to see that. And while I am certainly ready and to step into my lead role in a television series that someone else writes the words for, I don't think that anyone needs me to be hosting the show. I'm happy to be a supporting character on this show. But thank you, Jermaine, for your confidence.
What's next?
From, if we could scroll
next
down,
up, there we go.
Bold and Brash sending in a almost $50
Oh my God!
chat.
Thank you, Bold and Brash, for that.
If Kevin Feige and team hypothetically decided to keep the X-Men separate from the main MCU, do you think the X-Men themselves have the issue of the normalization of the extraordinary in their world?
No, and that's what I always wish they would do. I wish, look, there's so many X-Men characters that I really wish the X-Men were going to be in a separate universe. I don't want them in the regular MCU. It's already overcrowded. Yeah. It's already like feeling, again, the normalization of the extraordinary. That being said, I don't think they're going to do that. But if they did have them in their own universe, which they're not going to do, no, because that sets up that you're in a world that understands these evolved human beings are among them, and it creates this great schism in the culture about their very existence, what they can and cannot do, should there be a registration for them. These are all things that mimic real life events that we've had, which Stanley always intended. Exactly. I think it would be wonderful, but I don't think that's what they're going to do, unfortunately.
Well, and I think that's the whole point, though, of seeing some supers who people accept and then the mutants being ostracized, is that it's just to point out all these ridiculous inadequacies we have in real life, right?
Could be.
It's so ridiculous to hate someone based on something like this.
Yeah. So you hate them because of the way they were born.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. What's next?
From Suthius, I don't mind that there are more super people. It's how they're handled that keeps me intrigued. For example, going from Sokovia Accords to now having superhuman law divisions, fascinating.
I mean, yes, listen, it is interesting. And of course, in the MCU, because there's nothing special about the superheroes anymore, it makes sense now that even law firms would be saying, well, we got to create separate branches of our law firm just to deal with, defendants and our clients who are superpowered individuals and the unique situation they bring. That is a natural thing for the show to do. So I'm not upset that the show is doing that. It's just my little lament that that's the state that the MCU is at now, is that, there's nothing extraordinary about superheroes anymore. They're just it's just an everyday normal thing. And again, that's not a She-Hulk fault. That's just where the MCU is at right now. All right, what's next?
From Harps K, I'm not a fan of heated seats. I always push the button inadvertently with my arm on the side, like the last time when I was watching X, and suddenly it was getting uncomfortably hot. There are heated movie theaters?
Yes, in
Where
Glendale.
are they? And let me sit in one right now. I'm going to bring like a battery operated heating pad and...
But no, in Glendale, as a matter of fact, there's this great movie theater in Glendale and the first time I went there was because it was an awards ceremony where I won an award. But there was an award ceremony there, and that we sat down, and not only did it have a cup holder, the cup holder, which by the way, which had a heat or cool function in your cup holder. So if you had coffee, it would keep your coffee hot. If you had like a soda, it would keep it cold. But the seat itself had a built-in seat warmer. Why any movie theater in California has a seat warmer, I have no idea.
Okay,
And Aaron.
so
Yes.
for me, yes, because when we bought our Dodge Challenger, my dream car, Tom goes, "You live in Los Angeles. Why on earth do you need heated seats?" And I went, because it feels good, because it's nice. And then he started driving it around, and I would always turn on his heat seater or his seat heater, and he was like, "Oh, I get it now. Oh, I totally get it."
I can't stand
heat
it.
my seat anywhere. Yeah,
I get
because
instantly
it's because of your
uncomfortable.
Canadian blood. We're Texans.
Yeah.
We
Okay,
like
Okay, that I get. I
We
get
want
that.
toasty cheeks.
Yes.
All
the
right.
buns.
To me, it's just eliciting,
Swamp ass.
swamp ass. Yeah, I think it would just.
Maybe that's why I feel cozy and safe.
Sitting in my
I was gonna
swampy
say-
butt.
All right, what's next?
From Kevin Cow. Yay, Kevin. Welcome back, John. Just want to say great job, Ray and Chris, the other day on the show. And Ray, don't ever think you're not important, man. You're the best, bro.
You are the best.
You are.
Oh, thank you.
Listen, you have no idea not only how great it was for me to be able to, go off and visit my mom, but also to know that we now have everything at a place with producer Jonathan here and the talent that we have that I can go away. I can go and visit somebody. I can take that vacation with my wife. Something I haven't done in 5 years, because there's never been a John Campea show without John Campea on it, because I also ran the show. And now that I can, and seeing what these guys were able to do while I was gone, made me feel really, really good. And I can breathe a little more easy. All right, what's next?
From Tim, finally been watched Invincible this weekend. Loved it. What did you think?
Oh yeah, I loved Invincible. I thought
Invincible.
it was really good. And like a lot of people goes, "Oh, it's so cool because the blood splashing." I didn't give a shit about that. It was a great story.
Exactly.
Of a father and a son who idolizes his father, finding out things about his father, and then even the father trying to come to terms with. I mean, just overall the mystery of it. It's just a well-written story.
Agreed.
Have you guys had a chance to watch Invincible yet?
I don't know what that is.
It's on Amazon Prime.
Okay.
It's animated, but and you get past the violence of it at first. It's a wonderful story.
Yeah.
It's
You
a
have to-
really you'll love
So
it.
many people went into it too, being like, "This is such a cute, wholesome cartoon," and
Oh, yeah,
then
no,
the
no.
last scene of the first episode is when it's gruesome violence, and the comic is very, very gory too.
Yeah.
It's astounding.
Well,
It's really good.
I just started watching Mr. Pickles. Are you guys?
Which I've never heard of.
Is that the dog?
Yeah. Yeah. My I'm friends with the showrunner, and so I was like, I will start watching this. And I said to him, my 6-month-old son really likes watching your show, and he goes, "Your 6-month-old son is going to grow to be a serial killer." I'm like, yep.
All right, what's next?
From Big Ben, what's Hulk Hogan's favorite game? Super Mario, brother.
Oh my gosh.
Ray liked it.
What does he say?
simple.
Say your prayers, eat your vitamins. And what was the third thing? He always tell kids, remember kids, say your prayers, eat your vitamins. And I think there was a third thing. I can't remember. Hulk
Stand
Hogan.
Believe in
Cool.
yourself or something like that.
And believe in yourself. Yeah, I don't know what
something
it
like
was. All right, what's next?
And then some support from Connie. Yay, Connie!
Oh, Connie.
Connie, oh my gosh,
joined us
my
from
husband
Vegas.
is obsessed with Connie now. He's like, "Who is this woman? And please, can I meet her?" And so, Connie, you know why. Thank you very much.
Now we all want to know
Oh,
why.
weird.
Why does your husband want to meet Connie so bad?
Swag, man.
Oh,
yeah.
swag.
She was
yes.
but I don't know how much I'm allowed to say.
Okay,
so.
yeah, don't say much. All right, guys, and that'll do it for this swampy episode of the John Campea Show. Thank you so much. It gets moist down there for joining us here for
wow.
today's episode. Great to have you here. I want to thank the people joining us. First of all, Chris Carr. Chris, where can people find you online?
You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at actor Chris Carr.
Sitting right beside Chris, we got Aaron Cummings and Joey Bishop. Where can we find you guys?
You can find us on Instagram at Aaron L. Cummings. Lots of pictures of Joey there.
And over here, Ray Ora. Ray, where can people find you?
I'm sitting like this to prevent swamp. All right. I got Ray R with a 0.
And of course, thanks to producer Jonathan with the frozen camera.
She-Hulk got me frozen. I'm still thinking about She-Hulk.
And of course, a big special thank you to all you guys who sent in the super chats. Number one, because you gave us great fun things to talk about. But number two, you supported this channel as you did it. And all of us involved with the show, thank you guys so much. for that support. Okay, guys, new episode of Mailbag coming up a little bit later today. Keep your eyes for that. And of course, we will be back again tomorrow for the next episode of the John Campea Show. Hope you guys will join us for that. That'll do it for us for now, guys. Thanks a lot for being here. My name's John Campea, and until next time, my friends, bye-bye.